Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. School Beauty Break the Engagement, Awaken Chaos Rootless Water Unknown Level at Start. Chapter 81. Bang! The water column exploded, and the water splashes reflected a dazzling rainbow under the sunlight. If Guanxi Zhang, Mr. Xiao, Heya and others were here, they would be stunned. At this moment, Lin Shu actually did what only the 6th level martial masters and above could do, and stood in the air. Every time he took a step, a piece of blue ice would appear under his feet. Just like that, he was walking in nothingness. After 2 days of silent cultivation, refining the remaining crystal nuclei and absorbing some energy from the depths of the sea, his spiritual power soared from 800 points to 1350 points, a full increase to 550 points. With such an astonishing cultivation speed, he is definitely the best in the world. With a flash of inspiration, he had an electronic watch in his hand. This thing is called a positioning detection watch, which is a national high-tech product. It was given to me by Manager Zhang, and my younger sister Yi Shui also has one. Even if they are hundreds of miles apart, they can still detect each other's location. After putting it on, he pressed the start button. Beep, beep. Suddenly, there were many green dots on the watch interface. These people all wear positioning detection watches, and most of them are state officials, or targets of key training. After entering the girl's cousin number, a virtual screen immediately popped up. On that huge map, a small green light spot suddenly turned red. After checking the location, we are heading to the ancient ruins. There was a green light spot next to this red light spot. He quickly entered Xiao Qi's number. This green light spot also quickly turned red. Obviously, Xiao Qi and Xiao Mei are together. In this way, he doesn't have to worry about her safety for the time being. His heart trembled suddenly, and a strong sense of crisis continued to approach. Boom! A terrifying spiritual storm suddenly fell from the sky, completely penetrating the sea surface and setting off huge waves. 100 meters away, Lin Shu's face turned pale and he stared at a person not far away. A disabled old man who appeared to be over 90 years old, with a missing left arm and a missing right foot. His hair was thin and white, only one golden front tooth was left. His face was wrinkled, he had 2 wine gourds hanging on his waist, and he smelled of alcohol. Yo, the reaction is very fast, and you can also use teleportation. The disabled old man joked, and then he slowly stretched out his right hand. Boom, boom, in an instant, the entire void became distorted. The strong wind roared, and a giant palm of 100 feet condensed from spiritual power grabbed Lin Shu with the power to control the stars. The latter was as weak as an ant in front of him. Who is this person with such powerful spiritual power? Lin Shu's eyelids twitched. Buzz. In the thin line between life and death, the 1,350 points of spiritual power in his body instantly gathered under his feet. Spiritual power turns into water, and green light blooms. The cyan chaotic rootless water containing the power of softness under the feet is constantly compressed and recompressed, turning into a spring shape. He bent his legs and tightened his muscles. Whoosh! With the help of soft elasticity, his whole body rushed out like a rocket, leaving a long mark in the void. Especially at the beginning of the explosion, his speed reached an astonishing speed of 500 kilometers per hour. A loud bang. The huge palm struck the sea surface, directly printing a 100-foot palm print, causing the sea water to boil. Hey, what a magical method! The disabled old man's eyes lit up. But he did not continue to chase, but picked up the wine gourd on his waist and took a sip. The stronger the wine, the better it tastes, especially the wine made from living creatures. Who is that old man? I don't remember ever offending such a number one person. Lin Shu looked ugly as he fled. Looking back, he breathed a sigh of relief when he found that the other party hadn't caught up with him. However, even so, he still didn't dare to stop. Because the strong sense of crisis that enveloped his heart has not disappeared. Bang! Suddenly, there was a ripple in the void in front of him, and the disabled old man stepped out calmly. Ha ha, little guy, you can't escape, just accept your fate. As he said that, he lightly sucked Lin Shu with his right palm. Suddenly, an extremely powerful suction force was produced. Even though Lin Shu broke through to the 5th level of martial arts, he still had no resistance and his body flew backwards towards the disabled old man. Amaterasu! He roared in his throat, and the 3 Magatama in his right eye instantly merged and connected, evolving into the Mangekyo Sharingan. Poof! Strange black flames rose out of thin air and completely burned the disabled old man. Seeing this, Lin Shu couldn't help but feel happy. But the next second, his expression changed drastically as if he saw something. What a terrifying power of black flames! If it weren't for the old man and me protecting my body with my spiritual power, I would have suffered from you. The disabled old man said with a smile while stroking his beard. Pong! His seemingly fragile body shook slightly, and the black flames were instantly blasted away by a domineering spiritual power. After the black flame burned away the remaining spiritual energy, it was completely extinguished. No, this person is probably a 7th level martial king, or even an 8th level martial king. I can't compete with him. Lin Shu's scalp went numb. At this moment, the old man stretched out a vicissitudes of life finger and flicked it lightly between his eyebrows. Suddenly, he felt as if he had been hit by a high-speed train, and his whole body flew upside down like a cannonball. 1 kilometer, 5 kilometers. Bang! He didn't stop completely until he hit a barrier 30 kilometers away. Hiss! His hair stood on end. If he hadn't used soft power to weaken the impact just now, he would have been seriously injured. Is this the realm of the king? Looking at the barrier in front of him, his heart instantly sank to the bottom. The power of softness, the power of cold, the power of drought, 3 levels of water. Lin Shu shouted with a deep throat, quickly formed seals with his hands, and then clapped his hands violently. Hong, hong, hong. Green water, blue water, and gray water quickly poured out and merged into a 3-color water ball with a diameter of 10 meters to envelope him. These 3 powers are very powerful, even terrifying. But your cultivation is not strong enough. The disabled old man appeared without a trace. He smiled, revealing his only remaining golden front teeth, and then breathed lightly into Lin Shu's triple waters. A shocking scene happened. The water, which contains the 3 attributes of cold, soft and dry, became as fragile and cracked as an eggshell when the disabled old man who was missing a limb was blowing on it. Suddenly, the smiling disabled old man saw something and his eyes widened. That's because Lin Shu has already disappeared out of thin air. This kid's teleportation can actually travel through my imperial ruins, he muttered with a look of astonishment and shock on his face. The wandering spirit, the wandering spirit, the wandering spirit. After passing through the barrier of the mutilated old man, Lin Shu still did not dare to let down any vigilance. He escaped directly into the water, traveling crazily with the power of fugue. Call out. After rushing out from the coast, he continued to use his fastest speed and rushed towards the tallest building in Zhongling City. Haha, he didn't stop until he stood in front of the city lord's palace, his face turned pale and he kicked the ground loudly. As he ran away, his clothes were soaked with sweat. Both spiritual and physical strength are almost exhausted. Who is this disabled man? Why is he chasing me? Could it be that he is from the Lotus sect? He murmured with lingering fear. Hunting. Host, please stop being sentimental. The system's voice suddenly sounded. What's the meaning? Also, is your system reliable? I almost died just now, but I didn't even trigger the passive protector. Give me some life-saving trump cards. If I burp, I think it will be difficult for you too. Lin Shu said angrily. That crippled old man is not a martial king or a martial emperor, but a 9th level martial saint. If he really wants to kill you, do you think you can escape? Woo, martial saint. Boom. Suddenly, a thunderbolt struck Lin Shu's mind, and a turmoil arose in his heart. If the host wants to become stronger and become an invincible existence in this world, you should think more about how to trigger tasks and how to obtain points. Hearing this, Lin Shu fell silent. After eating dozens of pills purchased from Wan Lu Bao in one gulp, he walked straight to the city lord's mansion. Buzz. Soon, he disappeared from a teleportation array. Captain, who was the boy who was teleported just now? Seeing as he is only 18 or 19 years old, how can you let him use the special teleportation array leading to the inner forest of the Black Demon Forest? The Lord of the city has just issued an order. Only those who have reached the 5th level of martial arts can use the teleportation array. You are disobeying the order. In the teleportation room, a soldier asked worriedly. I didn't disobey the order. Please take a look at this first. The captain shook his head slightly and handed a record sheet to his subordinates to read. Name: Lin Shu. Talent: SSS level, natural chaotic rootless water. Realm: 5th level martial arts sect. What? That guy just now was Lin Shu who thought he was talented in 3S. His cultivation has reached the 5th level of Wuzong realm. Oh my god, how is this possible? Looking at the information on the record sheet, the soldier felt as if he was struck by a divine thunder. He was completely dumbfounded. He awakened his talent for 30 years, practiced hard day and night, and never dared to be lazy. But his current cultivation level is only at the peak of a 3rd level warrior. A guy who has only been awakened for less than 10 days has broken through to the 5th level of martial arts. So special. In the past 30 years of cultivation, I have really cultivated like a dog. This child is too evil. If he dies in the Black Demon Forest, it will definitely be the biggest loss for our human race. No, I must report this matter to the city lord. After giving some instructions to his men, he left in a hurry. The city lord's mansion is extremely majestic and spacious, like an ancient palace. In a high-end conference room, Mr. Xiao and Heya stood outside like security guards. Not far away from the two, there were 4 soldiers with serious expressions who looked like wooden figures standing guard. The opening of the ancient ruins has caused quite a stir across the country. The 4 major martial arts schools and the 10,000 years ancient clan are also ready to take action. And the Divine Lotus sect likes to hide in the dark and sow discord. You must be on guard and don't let these aliens take advantage of the loopholes. Also, the Black Demon Forest has been a little unusual recently. I'm afraid this is a sign of the coming storm. Zhao Tianba frowned and said, looking worried. You mean that the Divine Lotus Church sent people to sneak into the ancient ruins, and even colluded with those guys deep in the Black Demon Forest, thereby triggering a horde of beasts to attack the city? Manager Zhang said with a twitch of his eyelids. I hope I'm worrying too much. But I have to be careful. And that day when I broke through the barrier, I suddenly felt a demonic aura. It is most likely the person you were looking for, Yi Hua, the evil grandson of the Yi family. It's a pity that I came a step too late and he escaped. You have to be mentally prepared. The next time he shows up, his strength will definitely increase greatly. Even I may not be able to suppress him. That's right, you have always emphasized that there is a junior named Lin Shu from Zhongling City. It is said that he has awakened the SSS level natural water talent, and is even more evil than those ancient geniuses. I have killed the 4-star black envoys and even the 6-star red envoys of the Divine Lotus sect. I also single-handedly destroyed one of the 5 gangs, the Qinglong gang. You didn't lie to me, did you? Zhao Tianba changed the subject and said. This child has been regarded as the first priority for attention and training by our Tianling Pavilion. His growth, life and death, can even affect the future of the entire human race. As for his abilities, methods, etc., I can't tell you in detail due to confidentiality regulations. But I can tell you clearly that on the day he awakened his talent, his spiritual power value was only 1. And in just a few days, his spiritual power has increased to 800 points, and his cultivation has reached the late stage of a 4th level warrior. Speaking of Lin Shu, Manager Zhang looked proud. How is this possible that his spiritual power increased by 800 points in a few days? Is there no bottleneck in his practice? Zhao Tianba exclaimed with his eyes widened. At this moment, the door to the conference room was pushed open, and the captain who was responsible for guarding the teleportation array walked in with a worried look on his face. Didn't I say that if there is no important matter, don't disturb this city lord's meeting with important guests? Zhao Tianba looked a little dissatisfied. City lord, I have something to report. Explain. There was a young man just now who borrowed our teleportation array to go to the inner forest of the Black Demon Forest. This is nonsense. Didn't this city lord give an order this morning that only those with cultivation level of 5th level martial arts or above can use the teleportation array? Zhao Tianba was furious. Hey, nowadays, young people do things recklessly and completely without regard for the consequences. Nilin is the base camp of 4th, 5th, and 6th order monsters. If you enter rashly, you will only become a delicacy. Manager Zhang shook his head and sighed. His cultivation level has reached the 5th level Wuzong realm, and he also has a special order from Tianling Pavilion, Sai. Although he felt extremely oppressed, the captain still said with his head on his head. 5th level Wuzong realm, is he a disciple of the ancient clan? Zhao Tianba frowned. Wait a minute, you just said that this person holds a special order from Tianling Pavilion. What is his name? Manager Zhang stood up hurriedly and asked as if something had occurred to him, and a strong bad premonition suddenly surged through his heart. His name is Lin Shu, he has awakened the SSS Talent Chaos Rootless Water. The captain said with some uneasiness. What? Brother Lin entered the inner forest of the Black Demon Forest alone. Black Crow and Xiao Xiaozi immediately sent me an order to organize a rescue team with martial arts level and above to follow me to the inner forest. Manager Zhang was so worried that he yelled at the two people outside. If it is the outer forest or the intersection of the outer forest and the inner forest, he will not worry. Because the strength and means that Lin Shu has developed are enough to cope with everything. But Nilan is different. Level 5 and level 6 demon beasts can be seen everywhere, and if you are unlucky enough to encounter a level 7 demon king coming out of the depths to patrol or look for food, the consequences will be disastrous. Lin Shu. In just 2 days, he broke through from the late 4th level warrior to the Wuzong realm. Zhao Tianba muttered in confusion. However, the next second, he suddenly came back to his senses. Why did you just come to report such a big thing now? Why didn't you stop that boy Lin before? Tiangong is me. Don't worry about the ancient ruins for the time being, and immediately lead people into the inner forest. You must save Lin Shu's life for me at all costs. After yelling at the captain, he immediately contacted his brother, the city guard general Zhao Tiangong. When Lin Shu came to his senses, he found himself in a cave. Outside the cave is a cliff and a wild forest shrouded in mist in the distance. Roar, roar. Even though they were far apart, he could still hear the violent and domineering roars of the beasts. What shocked and delighted him was that the aura of heaven and earth here was several times richer than that in Zhongling City. No wonder those demon hunters, mercenary groups, etc. like to venture into the Black Demon Forest. Call. Suddenly, a gust of wind roared from above. That's. His pupils contracted. A bird with a wingspan of 20 meters swooped down quickly, and its sharp claws struck straight down. The 4th level monster, Iron-clawed Wind Eagle. It flies very fast, and its talons can easily scratch rocks. It is one of the aerial predators. Ding. Random mission triggered. Task 1. Kill 10,000 4th level monsters and be rewarded with a pair of divine and demonic wings. The progress speed is 0.10,000. Task 2. Kill 1,000 5th level monsters, reward 20,000 general points, progress speed 0.1000. Task 3. Kill 100 6th level monsters and reward a blind box gift package, progress rate 0.100. At this moment, the system sound sounded. Lin Shu's eyes widened and he became extremely excited. Green light flashed under his feet, and he rose up like a trapped dragon rising into the sky. Huh, what's going on with this human kid? Why isn't he afraid of himself? There was a trace of confusion in the sharp eyes of the iron-clawed Wind Eagle. Lin Shu's eyes were blazing. He picked up the Shenong shovel and hit it hard on the head. There was a loud bang. The entire head of the iron-clawed Wind Eagle exploded, and its body fell straight from the sky, causing a commotion in the forest below. After a while, Lin Shu took out a demon crystal from its body and put it away with satisfaction. Kill a mid-level 4th level monster and gain 35 points. The progress of mission 1 is 1/10,000. Bah, bah. A large group of iron-clawed wind eagles screamed in the sky, setting off gusts of wind and causing towering trees hundreds of meters high to shake violently. Roar, roar. The earth shook and dust billowed. One by one, the ferocious beasts seemed to smell the smell of blood, and they opened their fangs and roared. Even some creatures that were originally asleep gradually opened their cold, bloodthirsty pupils. In an instant, hundreds of ferocious monsters completely surrounded Lin Shu, the uninvited guest, and dozens of them had reached the 5th level. Hiss. With such an astonishing number, even if a 6th level martial lord was caught in the encirclement, he would probably have a narrow escape from death. Ha ha. If you are not afraid of death, just let your horse come over. Lin Shu was not afraid, but instead shouted excitedly. The blood in his body seemed to be burning, and his whole body was full of fighting spirit. Human boy, you are looking for death. This is our demon tribe's territory, it's not your turn to run wild. Get out of the way, let me eat him. Seeing how a mere ant-like human dared to talk so shamelessly, some 5th-level monsters that could speak human words roared angrily. Roar, roar, filled with murderous intent, a group of monster beasts rushed toward Lin Shu fiercely, opening their bloody mouths. In their eyes, humans are the most delicious delicacies, especially this vibrant young flesh and blood. Bang! Lin Shu waved his left hand, and the soft blue waters appeared, trapping dozens of monsters in it, making it difficult to escape. He clenched his right hand suddenly, and countless blue water arrows containing the power of cold were shot out overwhelmingly. When it rubs and blends with the air, it instantly turns into a sharp ice arrow. Click, click, under the erosion of the cold power, many monsters were turned into statues of ice, with only a pair of huge pupils turning in fear. Bang, bang, Shenong's shovel was as hard as a divine tool. When he hit it, the statue shattered into bloody ice shards and disappeared. Boom, crystal nuclei fell to the ground one by one, shining brightly. 1st and 2nd level monsters are unable to form monster crystals due to their weak spiritual power. Only some mature bodies of 3rd level monsters can be crystallized. Except for special reasons, 4th level monsters and above have monster crystals in their bodies. Looking at the other 4th and 5th level monsters, a glimmer of greed flashed in his eyes. Tasks, points, demon crystals. Hunting monsters is like killing 3 birds with 1 stone for him. The Black Demon Forest will be the place where he will rise strongly. Human, don't be too arrogant, you will be smashed to pieces. Roar. With a violent roar, a huge black bear stood 20 meters tall and slapped Lin Shu from the back with its thick, sharp claws. Seeing how powerful it is, this palm is enough to smash a house. But facing his sneak attack, Lin Shu did not turn around, but a gray light flashed in his eyes. Bang! When the black bear's giant paw was about to be knocked off, he was covered with a gray water jacket. What? No! The black bear screamed, his eyes filled with extreme fear. I saw that the proud bear's claws were shattered inch by inch at this moment, and it spread rapidly to the shoulders and head. It's easy for me to harvest things like you, Lin Shu said domineeringly. He rushed into the soft waters with the Shenong shovel, and smashed and shoveled the dozens of 4th and 5th level monsters. Some of them had their heads cracked open by his shovel. Some of them had their throats cut directly with his sharp shovel blade. Some of them were forcefully stabbed through their chests with the tip of a shovel. For a moment, there were constant sounds of panic, screams, and begging for mercy. This little human bunny is a little bit stronger than a billion, so don't underestimate him. No, this guy is too weird and cruel. We are no match at all. Run away. Boom, boom. When several 5th level monsters saw their companions being slaughtered continuously, their pupils widened in fear and they ran for their lives like they were pissing themselves. Want to run? No way. Lin Shu pulled out the Shenong shovel from a corpse and disappeared out of thin air in an instant. Bang! Escaped from nothingness, he jumped from midair with a crazy look on his face, stabbing straight down with a shovel in both hands. Blood spattered violently, and a 5th level mutant evil-eyed dog fell to the ground. Chi-Chi. However, before it died, it tried to pull Lin Shu onto his back, and its 12 evil pupils shot out gray beams of light. Lin Shu's heart skipped a beat and he instantly avoided it with a fugue. Hiss. When the gray beam hit the rocks and trees, they were instantly petrified, and then turned into a strange gray liquid. Seeing this scene, his pupils shrank suddenly. Although these 4th and 5th level monsters are not a problem, some mutant species have awakened their innate magical powers, so we must not be careless. Putting away his intention of underestimating the enemy, he once again picked up the shovel and pursued them wildly. After a long time, he lay directly on a huge elephant corpse, covering his brow with his left hand, and pressing his chest with his right hand, breathing heavily. At this time, he was like a demon crawling out of hell. He was covered in blood, and his expression looked extremely tired, but his eyes shone with excitement that he had never seen before. Hiss. If anyone were here, they would be completely stunned. I saw that within a radius of 5 kilometers with him as the center, there were corpses of monsters everywhere. If you pile them up, it looks like a big mountain. Task 1. Progress 677 10,000ths. Task 2. Progress 43 1,000ths. Task 3. Progress 0 100ths. Total points, 53,350. Haha, what a joy. This black demon forest is a treasure. I should have come earlier. Lin Shu laughed wildly. Master, I'm hungry again. Dong dong. The holy tiger egg of the sky landed on Lin Shu's chest and kept jumping. Eat, eat, eat. You only know how to eat, and you are not a pig. Why didn't I see you come out to kill the enemy for me just now? If you are of no use to me after you are born, I will roast you and eat you. Lin Shu complained loudly, venting his dissatisfaction. Woohoo! Being threatened and frightened, the little guy in the holy egg made an aggrieved voice. Seeing this, Lin Shu felt helpless. He gritted his teeth and spent 30,000 points to exchange for 3 7th level tiger element crystals. Looking at the remaining 23,350 points, he opened his panel parameters. Name, Lin Shu. Level, 5. Energy, 1350. Soul, 300. Constitution, 130. System, exchange for 230 Constitution. The redemption was successful, the consumption was 23,000 points, and the balance was 350 points. After his physique increased to 360 points, Lin Shu's body, which was exhausted just now, instantly became full of vitality. Some of the flesh wounds sustained in the previous fight were also healing on their own. He jumped down from the giant elephant corpse, twisted his neck, stretched his muscles, and was about to collect the demon crystal. Boom! However, at this moment, the ground where he was suddenly cracked. A huge python with solid scales all over its body rushed out like a river. It entangled Lin Shu's entire body with its huge body that was 50 meters long and 2 meters thick. Bah! It swallowed the snake letter and looked down at him condescendingly, its eyes flashing with a playful light of wisdom. Python. No, this is a dragon because there are water chestnuts on its head. With a direct touch, the system reveals its panel. Race, one-horned ground dragon, evolved from the patterned python. Bloodline, the body contains 2% ancient dragon bloodline. Age, 600 years old, 60 years old for humans. Level, 6 early level. Energy, 20,000. Talent, strangulation, use the power of the dragon's body muscles to crush the enemy. Swallowing the prey into the belly and forcibly melting it with special gastric juice. Red shock wave concentrate the demonic power in the body on the tentacles on the head to launch a killing blow. Human, you are indeed very powerful. Even I don't dare to take action rashly, but you are still too young. Now that your spiritual power is exhausted, the gray, blue, and cyan water can no longer be used. If I want to kill you now, it will be as easy as squeezing an ant to death, haha. The one-horned dragon laughed wildly and moved its huge body in an attempt to strangle Lin Shu into pieces. Obviously, it was different from the monsters he hunted before. Not only is he highly intelligent, he is also good at hiding and lurking himself. My spiritual power is indeed exhausted, but so what? Lin Shu opened his eyes sharply and shot out 2 frightening glances. The first gate of the 8 gates of Dunjia, open the door. Second door, close the door and open it. The third door, the door to life is open. The fourth door, the injury door opens. The fifth door, Duman opens. Sixth gate, the scenery gate is open. As soon as the Jingmun opened, his physique increased sharply from 360 points to 23,040 points. Boom! A powerful, domineering mysterious green vapor erupted from his body like a volcanic eruption. His clothes were torn and veins popped out all over his body. His hair was dancing wildly, his eyes were as violent as thunder and lightning, and as hot as flames. The whole person looked like a god or demon descending. Roar! He looked up to the sky and roared like a real dragon cub. Every inch of his muscles contained huge strength, and his blood seemed to be burning. The astonishing power and the domineering green steam directly shook away the entanglement of the one-horned dragon. What, you actually, the latter exclaimed, looking incredulous. Just when it was lost in thought, Lin Shu moved around behind it at high speed, grabbing its tail tightly with both hands like dragon claws. Bring it to me, you fool. The strength reaches the mountains, and the energy is unparalleled. With his roar, the 50-long and 2-meter-thick one-horned earth dragon was forcibly picked up by him and slammed down. Boom! In an instant, the entire ground was shaken and collapsed one after another. After receiving a blow, the one-horned dragon beast vomited blood and its head was buzzing. But it is a 6th level monster after all, with rough skin and thick flesh, and has not lost its combat effectiveness. Human being, you have completely angered me. It was furious, and the horn on its forehead bloomed with blood-colored light. Seeing this, Lin Shu did not avoid it. His terrifying power exploded again, and before the opponent launched an attack, he once again picked it up and slammed it to the ground. Ah, disgusting humans. There is a group of humans 20 kilometers away. They wore armor and were armed with guns, swords, bows and arrows, etc. What's going on? Is it an earthquake? One person said with a frown. Asuka, the leading middle-aged man, shouted to a thin man. The latter immediately activated his talent, sprouted a pair of wings from his back and soared into the air. It's the one-horned dragon beast. It seems to be fighting with a certain monster. Captain, this is a great opportunity. Jia, if we fight hard for a long time, we will definitely die. We can just wait and reap the benefits. Some team members said happily. The middle-aged man thought for a moment and thought it was a good opportunity. Everyone hide their aura and leave. Boom, boom, once, twice, 5 times, 10 times. Lin Shu was like an ancient ferocious beast in human form, swinging the one-horned dragon beast and striking wildly. The latter was extremely aggrieved. Under Lin Shu's terrifying brute force, it was smashed until its scales fell off, its head was bruised and bloody, and its eyes rolled back. My current physical body cannot fully withstand the power of the 6th gate, so I must fight quickly. Lin Shu's pupils flashed. He didn't want to overuse the power of the 8-gate Dunjia like he did in Shangguan Mansion, resulting in serious injury and coma for 3 days. In this dangerous black demon forest, it is undoubtedly fatal. He held Shenong's shovel tightly with both hands and stabbed it into the body of the one-horned dragon beast. The huge pain caused it to let out a shrill scream, struggling wildly and shaking the dragon's body. Lin Shu jumped straight onto his back, poured all his power into his arms and roared, "Open it!" Surrounded by green steam, it moves at high speed on the back of the dragon. Bang! When the shovel blade brought up a piece of blood and splashed on his face, the giant body of the dragon-horned dragon beast was cut open from head to tail. It fell to the ground with a loud bang, its body staining the ground red. The 8-gate Dunjia is lifted. Feelings of weakness, fatigue, and tearing pain came quickly. Is this a dragon's gallbladder? When he put away the demon crystal of the one-horned dragon, he found a dark green object as big as a fist not far away. This dragon is returning to its ancestors, with 2% of the blood of the ancient dragon in its body. This dragon's gall can quickly restore the host's injuries and spiritual power, and it can also transform your body. Lin Shu's eyes widened, he took out the dragon's bladder and drank crazily. Bitter. It was so painful that he doubted his life. If he hadn't held in his breath, he would have spit it out. Ah! Suddenly, he looked up to the sky and roared. It was as if he was suffering from astonishing pain. His face was as ferocious as an animal, the blood in his body was boiling, and his skin was red. The pores opened and hot gas rose up, the bones shone with golden light, and some mysterious dragon-shaped runes condensed. Hey! The fighting sound disappeared. Could it be that one party has been killed? Jia, it's better to have one dead and one injured, it will save us the effort. It's strange, why haven't I seen a 4th or 5th level monster? The group of armored and well-equipped people kept approaching Lin Shu's direction. Captain, look! At this moment, a team member seemed to have discovered something and exclaimed excitedly. This is... The middle-aged captain's pupils shrank, and there was a huge wave in his heart. Hiss! I saw blood red in front of me, and the ground was full of corpses of monsters, like a purgatory on earth. Although some corpses had their heads blasted and were even brutally dismembered. But as an experienced monster hunter, he could still recognize it as a 5th level monster at a glance. If it's 1 or 2, it doesn't matter at all. Because he can easily do it with his strength and means, but there are a lot of problems. Look, this corpse doesn't look like it was injured by the same kind of people. It looks more like it was pierced directly through the heart by some special sharp blade. An old man squatted in front of a corpse and observed it carefully before saying, "Everyone, be careful." The middle-aged man's eyes were solemn. If these corpses in front of you were all killed by one person, then the opponent's strength may have reached the late stage of the 6th level martial master, or even the peak. The demon crystal. The demon crystal is still there. Haha, I made a fortune this time. Two team members laughed excitedly and took out demon crystals from the corpse of the demon beast. Even the middle-aged man, who has always been calm and cautious, looked happy. There are so many 4th and 5th order demon crystals that can be sold for a large sum of money. The demonic crystal of the long-tusked wind leopard has been taken away. Report to the captain, the demon crystal of my corpse is also missing. Same here. As they went deeper, they gradually discovered some abnormalities. Which fool will get there first and steal our spoils? The duck suddenly flew away, and someone yelled angrily. Captain, that one-horned dragon is dead. The thin man with wings on his back flew over and said excitedly. 3 minutes later, when everyone saw the corpse that had been cut open from beginning to end, their eyes were full of shock. Demon crystal. The demon crystal is gone. Someone looked unwilling. Its scales are harder than ordinary earth-level spiritual weapons and are a good material for refining armor. Its horns are also a rare treasure. Although Yao Jing was not there, everyone was still overjoyed and began to decompose the corpse. Mr. Fei, what do you think? The captain looked at the old man. The incision is so smooth. Even if the corpse dismembering weapon is not a holy weapon, it is definitely a top-grade heaven-level spiritual weapon. However, the scales on its body have fallen off and there are many fractures, as if it was caused by a strong impact. You mean that it was injured by another 6th-level monster first, and then was cut into pieces to seize the crystal core? Probably so, the old man said, taking a puff of cigarette. With so many monsters being slaughtered here, that guy will be alarmed. Everyone, please move quickly. The captain shouted seriously. The outer forest of the Black Demon Forest is just a group of low-level monsters without a leader. But Nilan is different. There are multiple areas here, and each area has a powerful and brutal general beast. If they were provoked, even they would have difficulty contending. The demon crystal stays, you can take the body away. Suddenly, a calm voice sounded. Who? The sudden sound made everyone's hearts tremble, and they felt as if they were facing a powerful enemy. I saw a figure sitting cross-legged on a rock not far away with his upper body naked and stained with blood. Human boy. The moment they saw Lin Shu, many people breathed a sigh of relief, and then their faces became gloomy and full of killing intent. You want me to keep the demon crystal? Are you afraid that your head will get wet? Jia, it seems that the demon crystals in those demon beasts were taken away by you. HMPH. If you want to live, hand over everything you have. Several people shouted and drew their weapons to surround Lin Shu. Slow down. Seeing that his men were about to take action, the cautious middle-aged man immediately spoke to stop him. Team leader, back off. A newcomer wanted to speak, but was shocked by his look. Immediately, he winked at the only female player in the team. The latter understood, quietly took a step back, slowly squatted down, and placed his palms on the ground. She secretly used her talent, and the silent induction waves merged into the earth and spread continuously. She is not a combatant, but an auxiliary. As long as she casts the induction wave, all creatures within a 10-kilometer radius will be sensed by her. It is impossible for this young man to be a martial lord, let alone kill this one-horned dragon. But since he can appear here, I am afraid that a guardian or master will follow him. The one-horned dragon was most likely killed by the person behind him. The middle-aged captain's eyes flashed, and his brain kept thinking. I am Lu Yang, a captain of the Iron Shield demon hunting group under the name of the Zhang family. He put away his weapon, cupped his hands and smiled politely. Lin Shu slowly opened his eyes, but Zhangju is in the Zhang family. How dare you call King Zhongwu by his first name? It's so outrageous, some team members shouted angrily. Lu Yang's face darkened, but to find out what was true, he smiled again. Don't be surprised, little brother. The name of King Zhongwu is not something we can discuss at will. I wonder what your surname is. Forest, your surname is Lin. Lu Yang's pupils narrowed. In his impression, there seemed to be no big family named Lin. It turns out to be Brother Lin. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. That's right. This is Nilan, which is full of dangers. Why are you alone? Where are your elders? Also, on the way here, I saw many corpses of 4th and 5th order monster beasts. Do you know what this is about? He continued to ask with a smile. If you don't want to die, get out of here immediately. Lin Shu's eyes turned cold. Captain, I have checked, and there are no other strong humans or 6th-level monsters within a radius of 10 kilometers. The female team member said happily. Lu Yong, who had doubts and worries in his heart, was instantly relieved after hearing the report from his subordinates. The false smile on his face disappeared, replaced by an expressionless cold expression. Old rule. Kill the person, destroy the body, and don't leave any evidence. Haha, how can you kill a chicken with a machete? The newcomer who had just joined the Iron Shield demon hunting group rushed towards Lin Shu with a machete. Judging from his excitement, he probably wanted to perform well in front of his captain. Ding! Mission triggered. Kill all enemies in front of you and an attribute of chaos rootless water will be awakened randomly. The system sounded. Lin Shu's right eye widened, and strange black flames appeared out of thin air. Ah, it hurts so much, please help me. Black flames billowed, and the astonishing temperature distorted the space. In a flash of lightning, one person was wiped out in ashes. Hiss. In an instant, everyone's hearts jumped and they couldn't help but gasped. Black flame, is he a warrior with natural fire talent? No, this is the ability of special eyes. This guy is a bit weird, please be careful with his right eye. Witnessing a companion being burned to ashes, the others instantly became vigilant, as if they were facing a formidable enemy. You all come together. Lin Shu stood up unsteadily, holding the Shenong shovel on his shoulder. You are so arrogant that you are like an ant. If you kill the people of my Iron Shield demon hunting group, you will never leave alive. Today I will let you know that there are some people and forces that you cannot offend. Come together and cut him into pieces. Roar, roar. Lin Shu's wild words completely ignited everyone's anger, and they all rushed towards him with murderous intent, hoping to avenge their companions. When Lu Yong saw the Shenong shovel carried by Lin Shu, his eyelids suddenly twitched. After taking a look at the corpse of the one-horned dragon not far away, an incredible idea came to his mind. Is it possible that all the monsters were killed by a young man of this age? Don't be impulsive, bring everything back to me. He roared anxiously. But everyone who was dazzled by anger had already lost their minds. Boom! Lin Shu was seen killing like a wolf among sheep. His speed was astonishing. Some people only saw an afterimage, and the next second their head was directly separated from the body. There was a bang, the brain exploded, blood and brain matter splattered. He stretched out his left hand and punched a strong man lightly. Click, click. The Earth-level spiritual weapon armor was broken into pieces from the gloves, arms, shoulders, chest, inch by inch. Ah, Captain, help me. Don't kill me. You are definitely not a human being, but a monster in disguise. Screams and wails resounded through the mountains and forests, and everyone was frightened. Noisy. Lin Shu's eyes turned cold, and he swung the shovel with both hands. Pong. Astonishingly powerful, and the Shenong shovel is as hard as a divine tool. With one swipe, a martial artist at the peak of the martial sect instantly turned into a mist of blood, leaving no trace of his body. After eating dragon gallbladder, his physical constitution now reached 1300 points, and some mysterious runes were born on his bones, which were 100 times harder than before. The most important thing is that his body now contains a trace of dragon power, and his combat power has soared. In just a few breaths, half of his men were brutally killed, and Lu Yong felt an extreme chill in his heart. Wrong. He couldn't be more wrong. He should not be greedy for those demon crystals or even those demon beast corpses, but should leave decisively with his men. After reuniting with his captain and other captains, he can then kill the young man in front of him. Only in this way will he be safe. Seeing that the situation was completely out of control, he ignored the others and jumped into the air with all his strength. Call. The thin man's legs grew sharp claws to grab his armor, and his wings suddenly flapped, and the two of them flew into the air and fled quickly. At the same time, the old man took a deep breath into his pipe and blew out the smoke. The smoke billowed and spread, and then strangely condensed clones formed. Little disciple, let's go quickly. The old man grabbed the frightened woman and took this opportunity to run away quickly. In the mountains and forests, the old man and the female master and apprentice shuttled back and forth quickly, with frightened expressions on their faces. Master, what is the origin of that person surnamed Lin? Is it really a beast in disguise? Only the disciples of the 10,000 years ancient clan can possess such strength at such a young age. The Kegu clan does not have the surname Lin, but there is one named Sen. The people of the Kessen clan have always been mysterious and rarely show up. This person's physical body is so strong, he has the black flame of eye skills, and he exudes a wisp of dragon power invisibly. He is most likely a dragon incarnation. What? The dragon clan transformed. Did it come out of the deepest part of the black demon forest? When the woman heard this, she was so frightened that her face turned pale. Hey, are you two talking about me? Suddenly, a mocking voice sounded. Immediately, the master and disciple saw a devil-like smiling face. Captain, we were attacked, and now we have suffered heavy casualties. This person's surname is Lin, but his name is unknown. He seems to be only 20 years old. The weapon he uses is a black shovel. The cultivation level is ominous, but the combat power is amazing, comparable to the peak of martial lord. Lu Yong took the walkie-talkie and reported to his superiors in a panic. Suddenly, a broken sound came from below. A green beam of light shot straight into the sky like a rocket and passed over the two people's heads. No, that kid is coming. The thin man screamed in despair, showing a look of despair. Because at this moment, the blue light in the sky was bright, and a giant palm condensed, pressing down with the power of overwhelming the mountains and rivers. What? No. Looking at the giant blue palm that fell down, Lu Yong screamed heartbreakingly. Boom. The ground shook and the mountains shook, dozens of big trees were crushed, and sand and dust billowed. A huge palm print appeared on the ground, and a chilling air filled the air. You have so much cultivation as a martial master, but you are so vulnerable, you are like a waste. Looking at the two mutilated corpses deep in the pit, Lin Shu said with contempt in his eyes. In fact, it's not that Lu Yong is too weak, but that he is too strong and too perverted. Of course, the strength of warriors at the same level also varies. The strength of the innate ability accounts for part of it. Combat experience, determination, physical body, mental strength, weapons, practiced skills, etc. are also closely related. In a hidden valley, there is a camp. A white-haired man looked at the disconnected walkie-talkie, his expression extremely gloomy. If you dare to make an enemy of our Iron Shield demon hunting group, no matter who you are, you will die. Pass my order to search for a young man named Lin. The weapon this man wields is a black shovel. Zhang Tai, the commander of the regiment, roared with murderous intent. In addition to being the leader of the Iron Shield demon hunting group, he is also a member of the Zhang clan. His biological eldest brother is the youngest King Zhongwu in the entire provincial capital and is famous. Ding! The mission is completed, and the host gets a chance to randomly awaken the chaotic rootless water attribute. Do you want to use it now? Use. Congratulations to the host, you have awakened the heavy attribute of chaos rootless water. After reading the detailed introduction about the heavy attribute, Lin Shu's eyes widened. To put it simply, the heavy attribute chaotic rootless water becomes extremely heavy because its density has changed. Just like two glasses containing the same volume of water. Ordinary water weighs 1 pound. However, the chaos rootless water that has awakened the heavy attribute weighs thousands or tens of thousands of catties. The spiritual power turned into water, and a small ball of colorless, chaotic and rootless water was suspended in his palm. As soon as his mind moved, the water body glowed with a dark light. Suddenly, a black round water polo was held in his palm. Hey, is this the chaotic rootless water with heavy attributes? Why is it so light? Lin Shu looked confused and threw it to a rock not far away. Boom! In his stunned and shocked eyes, the 30-meter-high rock was instantly exploded, setting off a gust of wind. This is a super cannonball. He was completely stunned. Boom! Boom! The setting sun is gradually setting, but the loud noises in the mountains and forests are like thunder. Hiss! If anyone were here at this moment, they would be completely stunned. I saw a young boy with his upper body naked and covered in blood, holding black balls as big as watermelons and smashing them wildly. Whether it's rocks like high-rise buildings, large trees towering into the clouds, or ferocious monsters as big as hills. Anyone who was hit collapsed instantly, with blood splattered on the spot. The ground was pitted and dilapidated, and bloody corpses could be seen everywhere. Run away. This guy is simply a devil. Boss, Please forgive me. I will never eat anyone again, little one. The monsters that used to be arrogant and ferocious were now running away as if they had seen a ghost. They were so scared that they peed and wished they had 2 more legs. Facing the begging of these monsters for mercy, Lin Shu showed no expression and fired with both hands. Coupled with his amazing brute strength, the black water balls bombarded the fleeing monsters like cannonballs. Bang! A 5th-level peak spear-tusked pig had its body penetrated directly through a huge hole, and blood gushed out like spring water. Clang! Clang! The sky was changing, and angry neighing sounds were heard. It turned out to be a large group of thunder eagles, and 8 of them reached the 6th level. Under their leadership, nearly 100 thunder eagles flapped their wings fiercely, releasing violent thunder and lightning that struck Lin Shu, like a divine thunder destroying the world. Click! Click! Wherever the thunder and lightning passed, everything turned into scorched earth. Some innocent monsters were affected and died instantly. When the thunder, lightning and smoke disappeared, a water domain of gray, green, blue and black appeared. Lin Shu was not injured at all. 8 6th level ones, 73 5th level ones, very good. He smiled jokingly. With a stroke of his left hand, the chaotic rootless water with heavy attributes rolled out and condensed into thousands or tens of thousands of fist-sized black balls. At the same time, he grabbed the void with his right hand. The green light is bright, and the soft chaotic rootless water turns into elastic lines to wrap around all the small black balls. I'll give you a big gift. He shouted to the sky like a maniac, throwing tens of thousands of small black balls like a ferocious beast in human form. Whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, densely packed small black balls shot towards the group of thunder eagles like an unstoppable force. Boom, boom. In an instant, the whole sky was like a pot exploding, boiling completely. Along with the shrill screams, blood flowers bloomed high in the sky, and corpses rained down. When everything quieted down, there was no complete place within a radius of 20 miles, and it was like a sheer field filled with blood mist. Task 1. 1830 10,000. Task 2. 168 1,000ths. Mission 321 100. After taking a look at the progress of hunting the monster beasts, he carried the Shenong shovel and continued to cut open the corpses of the monster beasts. Night falls. A fire lit up in a hidden cave, and the aroma of meat filled the air. I saw 5 thunder eagles roasting on the fire. See. The golden fat dripped into the coals, causing the flames to soar violently, making Lin Shu's face turn red. He tore off an eagle's wing and devoured it. After eating dragon gall, he found that his appetite and food intake were 100 times greater than before. Even if you eat a cow, it can be digested instantly. Dee-dee, beep. Suddenly, a machine-like sound came from beside me. It was a positioning detection watch. The red dots on the interface that originally represented Yi Shui and Xiao Qi disappeared instantly. It seems that my little sister and the others have entered the ancient ruins, he said to himself. But his expression was still very calm, with no intention of rushing there quickly. That's because I learned from Manager Zhang that both Suling fruit and Super Spirit fruit will appear in the last 3 days. As for other elixirs, weapons, techniques, etc., he doesn't care. At worst, he could simply borrow some unlucky or unsightly things and use them. Anyway, he had done this kind of thing before. Instead of competing there, it would be better to secretly play jungle here and develop into a king. After killing those thunder eagles, he took out a lot of demon crystals and fell into practice. The next day, it was still dark. The sound of bombing sounded again in the mountain forest, causing countless monsters to flee desperately. Leader of the demonic ape, help me. That human being is so terrifying, he is simply not human. A large group of monsters were lying in front of a waterfall, and they were shouting in fear. Just then, a monkey covered with red hair rushed out of the waterfall. Boom! Where it landed, the entire ground sank deeply, causing all the monsters to stumble and fall. Bah! This is a bunch of stupid trash. They can't even deal with a small child. They've totally disgraced us monsters. The red-haired monkey showed a fierce look on his face. The beasts were so frightened that they only obeyed and were frightened. That human being is very terrifying and has endless methods. We are no match for him at all. He cut off my 3 spider legs with that black shovel. The wounds are still extremely painful. I beg the leader of the demon ape to take action with your own hands and cut him into pieces. Strange, how come all the monster beasts in the nearby mountains and forests suddenly disappeared? Looking at the silence in front of him, Lin Shu couldn't help but frown. Just when he was considering whether to change to another area for hunting, the ground in front of him shook violently, sand and dust billowed into the air, and evil spirits surged into the sky. It was a large group of monsters. Arrogant humans take their lives. Accompanied by a roar. The red-haired monkey jumped from the top of a 6th-level monster, exuding a terrifying aura. This monster. Lin Shu's pupils contracted, feeling a great sense of threat. His intuition told him that the red-haired monkey attacking in front of him was different from other 6th-order peak monsters. Not daring to be careless, he immediately started the 8-gate Dunjia. As soon as the 6 doors were opened, his physique soared from 1,300 points to 83,200 points in an instant, and he also threw a violent punch with heavy force. Boom! A man, a monkey, and 2 fists collided, causing a shocking storm. Lin Shu's expression suddenly changed in the next second, and an overwhelming force surged from the opponent's fist. With a bang, he flew upside down like a cannonball, leaving a long trace on the ground. Race: Demonic Ape. Bloodline: the descendant of the 8-armed Holy Ape and the red-haired Stone Ape. Age: 245 years old, 19 years old in humans. Level: 6 peak level. Energy: 99,999. Physique: 99,999. Talent: can integrate the energy in the body into the body, making the physique reach 200,000 points, and can crush ordinary 6th-order peak monsters. Hiss. Looking at the red-haired monkey information panel, Lin Shu's eyes were particularly solemn. You can survive a punch from this leader. Human being, you are indeed quite capable. No wonder you dare to hunt in my territory alone, but you shouldn't provoke me. Roar. The red-haired monkey opened its ferocious fangs and struck Lin Shu again with astonishing speed and terrifying power. Call. Seeing this, Lin Shu did not hide away, but took a deep breath. The black heavy attribute chaotic rootless water spread rapidly from his feet, seeping into his flesh and skin. Soon, his entire body turned into a black Iron Man, appearing indestructible. Coupled with the violent green steam, it gives people a very impactful vision. Boom, 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 boom. In an instant, the impact was deafening. One person and one monkey don't have any fancy skills, they just have the physical body, brute force, and the impact of a real man. Wherever it passed, countless ancient trees and huge rocks were destroyed. The violent aftermath of the battle, even if a 6th-level monster was involved, instantly turned into a blood mist. Ha ha, boy, you are very strong and a pure man. Unlike those despicable humans who only hide and stab people in the back. Let's do this. As long as you surrender to this general, from now on you will be the second in command in this area, below an ape and above all beasts. On the broken earth, the red-haired monkey laughed excitedly. The eyes it looked at Lin Shu were no longer full of anger and murderous intent, but one of appreciation and sympathy. Among the many regional generals in the inner forest, its physical strength and defensive power rank first. And it is a fighting maniac, going to fight with generals in other areas every now and then. However, no monster or beast dared to confront it with flesh and blood. It either hides away or sets various traps with its natural abilities, making it furious and often returns disappointed. But the young man in front of him was different. Although he is a human being, he has a body comparable to his own. Just because you are a red-haired little butt monkey. Lin Shu joked with a smile. Since the dragon marks grew on his bones, he has been able to use the 8-gate Dunjia for significantly longer, and his physical endurance has become stronger. HMPH. It seems that you really don't shed tears until you see the coffin. The red-haired monkey roared, veins popped up all over his body, and the pressure on his body was much stronger than before. It seems that he has never used his full strength before. In Lin Shu's shocked eyes, its short body quickly grew in size, like an ancient giant ape that was tens of meters tall. Boom, boom. Just as he ran, the ground exploded and dust billowed. Even some peak groups thousands of meters apart have collapsed one after another. The body has become bigger, and the strength and defense have become stronger, but the speed is obviously not at the same level as before. Lin Shu's pupils flashed. Call. After taking a deep breath, he closed his eyes, as if he was recalling something or comprehending something. The next moment, he opened his eyes suddenly. I saw him squatting down with his legs, his muscles were also tense, and his veins were roaring like a dragon. The soft cyan water wraps around the legs, constantly compressing and recompressing, like a spring jumper. Boom! The ground collapsed, and his entire body rushed out like a rocket, more than 3 times faster than before. What? Faced with his sudden burst of speed, the enlarged red-haired monkey was shocked. The frightening wind pressure caused Lin Shu's face to twist, his bones made a grinding sound, his skin cracked, and blood flowed out, which was very oozing. Accompanied by a domineering dragon roar, a 20-foot green dragon soared into the sky. And it continued to solidify and compress in the electric light and stone fire, wrapping around his right arm, like the arm of the green dragon. Let you see the new move I just created. 5-fold nail punch. Lin Shu roared, throwing out a heavy and violent punch. This punch contains the power of his pure physical body. This punch contains 64 times the power of his 8-gate Dunjia. This punch contains the power of armor with important attributes. This punch contains soft attribute compression, and the power it explodes is several times higher than normal. This punch is absolutely shocking and stunning to the world. Boom! A punch hit the chest of the demonic ape, causing an explosion in the space. Its huge body was blown away and hit a huge mountain several miles away. The mountain peak shook and rocks rolled down. Puff! The demonic ape was injured and coughed up a large mouthful of blood. But it laughed arrogantly. Ha ha! Is this your last blow? What a pity. Although you can break through my general's defense, you are still far from defeating me. As soon as the voice fell, its expression suddenly changed as if it sensed something. I already told you this is called the 5-fold nail fist. 5-fold, consecutive nails, do you understand what people say? Lin Shu joked with a smile. Boom, 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 boom. The punching waves hit one after another, sending the demonic ape straight into the giant peak. Maybe the power is exhausted. Maybe the injury is too serious. Its originally huge body of a violent celestial ape monster shrank rapidly, turning into a monkey shorter than Lin Shu. At this moment, its chest was deeply sunken, with multiple fractures, broken teeth, and blood spurting out. The tibia bone was broken, and even trying to turn it was excruciatingly painful. The miserable situation was simply unbearable to look at. No, the leader of the demon ape has been defeated. Run away quickly. Seeing the tragic death of their boss, the monsters watching the battle in the distance fled one after another. There are also many late 6th order and peak monsters among them. They didn't seem to notice that Lin Shu's aura and strength were rapidly weakening. Or maybe they sense it but don't dare to gamble. Because no one knows if this guy who looks like a human but is more terrifying than the cubs of ancient mythical beasts has any other hidden powers and trump cards. You are defeated. Lin Shu walked up to the red-haired monkey and held up the Shenong shovel with both hands. Under the sunlight, his figure continued to enlarge in the latter's eyes, like a giant who created the world in the prehistoric period. Don't kill me, I am willing to surrender. The red-haired monkey, who had completely lost his will to fight, spoke with difficulty. But Lin Shu remained expressionless, and the Shenong shovel slammed down. I can take you to other areas to hunt monsters. Facing death, the red-haired monkey shouted urgently. Bang! Shenong's shovel stopped midair, and the impact caused the red-haired monkey's face to deform and his hair to fly up. This is a black monster forest monster. If you have a guide, it will be much easier to hunt the monster beast by yourself. Also, with his current strength, he can compete with a general monster. If it causes a few besiegers, it will be unable to eat and will be forced to walk around. It would be nice to have an extra helper. Lin Shu picked up the Shenong shovel and began to make calculations in his mind. When the red-haired monkey saw that he had saved a small life, he quickly and decisively launched a bloody formation. This is a life contract. As long as the host drops a drop of blood into it, he can completely control its life from now on. The system sounded. Hearing this, Lin Shu's eyes lit up. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. Little Red Hair, you actually teamed up with humans and betrayed the entire demon clan. Those demon kings will not let you go. In a swamp, a monster beast that looked like a prehistoric crocodile roared. What's shocking is that it actually has 2 heads. One can spit out blazing white flames, and the other can spit out black wind blades, and their combat capabilities are far beyond ordinary 6th-order peak monsters. Obviously, like the demonic tyrant ape, it is a general in the inner forest. In the past, it was one of the main forces in attacking Zhongling City. Hearing the name of the Demon King, the red-haired monkey's eyes showed fear. But soon the look of panic completely disappeared, replaced by incomparable ferocity. In human terms, I call those who understand current affairs a hero. Suffer death. Boom, boom. When everything calmed down, the body of the two-headed giant crocodile had been decomposed. The entire swamp was stained red with blood and was full of corpses of monsters. Lin Shu carried the blood-stained Shenong shovel and looked at the demon crystal in his hand with a satisfied smile. In the past 3 days, under the leadership and help of Tianmo Baoyuan, he had killed 5 peak 6th-level monsters at the level of regional generals, which was a rich harvest. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing Mission 2. Killing 1,000 5th-level monsters to obtain 20,000 general points. Do you want to use it now? 20,000 universal points. Regardless of whether it is added to the physique, soul, or energy, Lin Shu can instantly reach the 6th level of martial arts realm. After pondering for a moment, he finally chose to focus on both soul and energy. Firstly, the growth of soul power is too slow, and secondly, the physical body has 6 armors, which is enough to exert the 6th level of peak combat power. As he fought and fed on the flesh and blood of 6th-level monsters during this period, his physique also increased. The total points also reached an astonishing number, 1.13 million. Boom! After he used 20,000 universal points, an aura that was several times stronger than before suddenly burst out from him. Master, you! The red-haired monkey next to him was frightened, and he was terrified. It had an illusion in its mind that its master had broken through to the king of martial realm. Name, Lin Shu. Level, 6. Energy, 10,000. Soul, 10,000. Constitution, 3,500. His eyes widened as he felt the spiritual power surging within his body like a sea tide. Buzz. When his mind moved, his mental power spread in ripples to the depths of the inner forest. 10 miles, 20 kilometers. At the same time, in the core area of the Black Demon Forest, a pair of cold pupils suddenly opened. It is 5 meters tall, has 2 curved horns on its head, long bone wings on its back, and reverse spines on its hands and feet, and has an evil look. This feeling can't be wrong. It's definitely the human kid who killed a ray of my soul. Haha, I didn't expect you to dare to break into the Black Demon Forest. You were really not afraid of tigers as a newborn. After the anger, it looked crazy and laughed excitedly. Boom, boom, crazy laughter resounded through the sky, and huge demon power surged out overwhelmingly. Let countless monsters crawl on the ground, trembling, and their eyes wide open in fear. No, the evil fire demon king has been alarmed. Master, let's run away quickly. The demonic ape screamed, its red hair all over its body. It's that guy. Lin Shu put away his mental power and narrowed his pupils. Now his energy and soul have reached the 6th level, and Chaos Rootless water has awakened the 4 attributes of cold, soft, dry, and heavy. Even if the evil fire demon king comes in person, he dares to fight him. But being able to fight it doesn't mean you can win. After all, this is the Black Demon Forest, the territory of the demon clan. If the battle between the two attracts other demon kings, he will not be able to eat and will be carried away. Today is the 4th day of opening the ancient ruins. Due to the ban, the positioning detection watch lost the signals of Xiaomei and Xiaoqi. He was already worried and there was no need to get entangled with this guy. Let's go. He turned around decisively, and 1 person and 1 monkey cut through the void. But he still underestimated the flying speed of the Demon King, especially the evil fire Demon King with long bone wings on his back. Want to leave? No way. A terrifying energy ball with a diameter of 50 meters struck from behind. It's over. The red-haired monkey trembled all over, his eyes full of despair. Feeling the terrifying power of this energy ball, Lin Shu felt as if he was facing a formidable enemy. Master, let me help you. At this moment, a spiritual light rushed out, which was an egg covered with mysterious animal patterns. There was a shattering sound, and the golden light shone brightly in an instant, which was very dazzling. Roar! The roar of the tiger shakes the mountains and forests, and the tiger frightens all beasts. In Lin Shu's delighted eyes, a ferocious beast 5 meters long, 3 meters high, with a pair of wings on its back and a domineering king character on its forehead was born. That's right, the domineering beast in front of you is the holy tiger of the sky. After absorbing many demon crystals, crystal cores, and 3 7th-level tiger element crystals, it finally broke out of its shell. Suddenly, an interface jumped out in front of Lin Shu. Species: Sacred Tiger of the Sky. Theoretically, it can evolve infinitely. Level: Early stage of the 7th level Demon King, Infancy. Attributes: Space System, Wind System, Thunder System, Light System. Skills: Wind type, Claw of Destruction, Thunder type, Thunder Strike. Don't even think about hurting my master. The voice of the holy tiger of the sky seemed a little childish, but its body was wrapped with violent silver thunder and lightning, shining brightly and looking even more majestic. It opened its mouth, and all the power of thunder and lightning gathered into a thunder ball with a diameter of 20 meters. Boom! The two energy balls collided, and the entire void exploded, setting off an astonishing storm, with raging demonic energy and thunderous thunder. Good guy, I finally raised you in vain. Lin Shu's eyes sparkled with excitement when he saw the holy tiger of the sky displaying its power. Hearing his master's praise, the holy tiger of the sky jumped up excitedly like a dog, shaking his head and tail wildly. If it hadn't been for the tiger stripes on its body and the domineering king character on its forehead, I would have thought it was a flying dog. Demon King, 9th level Holy Beast Bloodline, how is this possible? The evil fire Demon King's frightened voice came from behind. HMPH, so what about the bloodline of the Holy Beast? You are just a little tiger cub after all. After I devour you, you will definitely be able to break through to the level of Demon King, or even Demon Saint, haha. After the shock, its voice became excited and crazy. Baking. The evil fire Demon King hasn't appeared yet, but its terrifying black flames have already swept across the sky. Wherever it passes, the entire sky is extremely dark and even keeps twisting. This shows how terrifying the power of this evil fire is. This is evil fire. If you are burned or corroded by it, you will become its puppet. The red-haired monkey screamed in horror. There was no need for it to remind him, because Lin Shu had already seen the power of this evil fire in Mr. Shangguan's body. He jumped onto the back of the holy tiger of the sky, quickly formed seals with his hands, and condensed the 4 color marks of green, blue, gray and black on his forehead. After his spiritual power reached 10,000 points, the god-level skill, water breathing, he practiced also broke through to the 3rd level, which can communicate with the source of water in the world and all living things. He stretched out his right hand, clasped his right arm with his left hand, his pupils turned dark blue and shouted in a deep voice, "The frozen world." An incredible scene happened. I saw him clenching his right palm suddenly, and the whole world was shaken. Whether it is the air, the ground, or the natural wind, sand, trees, etc., there are tiny drops of water seeping out. 1 drop or 100 drops may be insignificant. But what if it's trillions, billions, trillions, or billions? The endless water droplets bloomed with blue light, filling the air with a terrifying cold air. Click, click. In the shocked eyes of the demonic ape, the overwhelming black evil fire was blocked by countless blue water droplets, and immediately formed an unstoppable block of ice. Let's go. Lin Shu shouted loudly. The red-haired monkey came to his senses and quickly followed. Roar. The holy tiger of the sky looked up to the sky and roared, flapping its wings and disappearing from the sky instantly. In such a short period of time, that human kid has grown to such an extent. Looking at the direction in which the holy tiger of the sky left, the evil fire demon king looked incredulous. But soon it showed a fierce look on its face. But if you think you can escape like this, you are looking down on me. The bone wings on its back are wrapped with evil fire, which is growing visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, it was more than 3 times larger than before, and it was filled with an even more terrifying demonic aura. Bang! Just when it was about to catch up at full speed, the void around it suddenly distorted and a black hole appeared out of thin air. A bloody bat flew out and turned into a human figure. If Lin Shu were here, his color would suddenly change. This person was wearing a purple robe and a purple mask, and his pupils were shining with a strange light. Divine Lotus Sect, Purple-Robed Messenger. You must know that in the entire Shenlian sect, except for the Pope, whose true face no one has seen, the purple-robed messenger is the most powerful and advanced existence. What's wrong with you? Don't delay the big thing, I'm waiting for a little thing. The purple-robed messenger said coldly. Chi-Chi. As he spoke, the entire void suddenly became gloomy, and countless blood-colored bats flew out of rock cracks and tree holes. I saw him inhale vigorously through his nose, and a shocking scene happened. Thousands and tens of thousands of bats suddenly exploded and turned into streams of blood mist, which he inhaled into his nose. As if he was full, the purple-robed messenger trembled with comfort. 2 lines of blood flowed from his nostrils, which looked very strange. He glanced at the horizon and then at the purple-robed messenger. The evil fire demon king suppressed the anger and murderous intent in his heart, put away his bone wings and asked seriously, "How are you preparing over there?" With this envoy personally taking action, everything is no longer a problem. Everything is ready now. The purple-robed envoy smiled evilly. Hearing this, the evil fire demon king also showed an excited and cruel smile. In that case, let's do it. At the same time, Guanxi Zhang led Black Crow, Mr. Xiao, and the elites from Zhongling Tianling branch, and Zhao Tiangong led a group of subordinates to sneak into the inner forest for search and rescue. What's going on? Why is it so quiet here? Look there. When everyone saw the destroyed peaks, the blood-stained forest, and the corpses of monsters and beasts all over the ground, they were completely shocked. This corpse has been dead for a day, but there is still an icy cold air left on it. It's so weird. The upper body of this 6th-level monster is missing for no apparent reason. The wound looks like it was petrified and collapsed. And here, they all seem to have been blasted through the flesh by heavy artillery shells, but there is no trace of gunpowder. Oh my god, there are so many corpses of 5th and 6th order monsters. Who did it? Many soldiers guarding the city were stunned. Manager Zhang, looking at the corpses of these monsters, why do I feel like Mr. Lin did it? Mr. Xiao said with an uncertain tone, his heart pounding. Needless to say, Manager Zhang had vaguely discerned some clues from the death conditions of these corpses. Because except for Lin Shu himself, no one in this world understands the special features of Chaos Rootless water better than him. Could it be that in such a short period of time, he has awakened new attributes and his strength has increased to the point where he can kill 5th and 6th order monsters so easily? He muttered absent-mindedly. Report to the general, we found the bodies of a 2-headed giant crocodile, a 3-color fire sparrow, and a fast-lighting leopard. At this moment, several scouting soldiers came back quickly and said, "What? The 2-headed giant crocodile, the 3-color fire sparrow, and the fast-lighting leopard are all dead. How is that possible? They are not ordinary 6th-level peak monsters, but general-level existences in the inner forest area. Their strength is enough to rival my half-step martial king realm. Oh my god, could it be that a strong martial king sneaked into the place and started killing people?" Boom. Upon hearing this shocking news, the entire audience was in uproar. Even Zhao Tiangong felt a bolt from the blue. As a general who protects the city, he is no stranger to the 2-headed giant crocodile, the 3-colored fire sparrow, and the fast-lighting leopard. In the past, he had fought with beast tides during sieges, but he could not gain any benefit every time. But now they are all dead inexplicably. While he was excited, he also felt incredible. Could it be that the adopted son of the Yi family named Lin Shu is already as strong and capable as the half-step martial king? This is too shocking. He turned his attention to Manager Zhang. Senior Zhang, what do you think? Do you think it is necessary to continue searching? Hearing this, Manager Zhang calmed down. Judging from various signs in the past, although Lin Shu was sometimes arrogant and even felt unreliable, he never did anything stupid. Especially when the younger sister was kidnapped by the Qinglong gang, although she was furious and murderous, she still didn't completely lose her mind. The other party did not rush to the Qinglong gang to save people immediately. Instead, he went to the river to gather the rolling water, and used its power to completely submerge the Qinglong gang. From this point of view alone, he is a person who plans first and then acts. Didi. At this moment, an electronic sound came from the Black Crow. Master Lin's location has been found. Where is he? Judging from the map, he is leaving the inner forest. He should be heading towards the ancient ruins, and his moving speed is extremely astonishing. Hiss. Looking at the fast-moving little red dot on the map, everyone couldn't help but gasp. Because this is far beyond Wuzun's peak flying speed. Could it be that the young man was flying a plane or riding a rocket? Call. Manager Zhang took a deep breath and said, since he has left Nilan, let's wait. But before he finished speaking, his expression suddenly changed. Boom, boom, the whole earth was shaking violently, as if it was about to collapse completely. Guagua, guagua, black crows are constantly circling the void. From the cry, one can hear their strong anxiety and fear. Whoosh, black crow, Xiao Lao, Zhao Tiangong and other martial masters immediately soared into the air. I saw sand and dust billowing from many directions, evil spirits rising into the sky, and beasts roaring like thunder. No, there's a riot in the Black Demon Forest. Run away. This is a tide of beasts, they want to attack the city in advance. Quickly, report to the Lord of the city. Boom, boom. For a moment, everyone was shocked, as if a nightmare was coming, and they looked frightened. What? The army of monsters in the Black Demon Forest want to attack the city? Send my order to sound the city's alarm immediately, activate the city protection barrier, and prepare everyone for war. At the same time, when Zhao Tianba from the city lord's mansion learned the news, he immediately shouted anxiously. Rao Wu, Rao Wu. Soon, the piercing sirens were heard throughout Zhongling. Countless citizens, supernatural warriors, etc. were all pale and frightened. There were even some people with weak hearts who were so scared that they fell to the ground, trembling. Chapter 91. Mission 1. Kill 10,000 level 4 monsters and be rewarded with a pair of god and devil wings. The progress speed is 9,655 10,000ths. Mission 3. Kill 100 level 6 monsters and be rewarded with a blind box gift package. The progress rate is 94 100ths. There are still 45 4th level monsters left before I can obtain a pair of god demon wings. Even if the evil fire demon king is good at flying, he will never be able to catch up with me. After taking a look at the mission, Lin Shu's eyes flashed and he muttered. God and demon wings. The left wing is god and the right wing is devil. Not only does it possess terrifying flying speed, it also has a natural sense of intimidation to the descendants of gods and demons. With his current strength and means, if he could obtain these god-devil wings, he would undoubtedly be even more powerful. Master, I don't know it is. The heavenly demon Violent Ape, which used to be extremely bellicose, now looked frightened and uneasy, and even his words became stuttering. Although the holy tiger of the sky did not target it, the aura it exuded invisibly made it restless and frightened. It is a natural sense of oppression that comes from the blood and the depths of the soul. It's a pet I kept. Lin Shu smiled lightly. He also didn't expect that this tiger cub would have Demon King level strength as soon as he was born. Although it is only the early stage of the Demon King. But with the pure bloodline of the 9th level holy beast, even the mid-stage Demon King is still capable of fighting. It's a pity. Among the 4 attributes of space, wind, thunder, and light, it now only awakens the wind and thunder attributes. If the power of the 4 major attributes were awakened, it would be enough to crush an ordinary mid-level 7th level Demon King. Can a pet have the power of a Demon King? Who is the young man in front of him, and how many secrets he doesn't know? Etc. Could it be that his master is the reincarnation of an ancient human god? There can be no mistake, it must be like this. Hiss. Thinking of this, the red-haired monkey became more and more in awe of Lin Shu. I beg the master to give me a name. Name, I want it too. Kang Chong Shengu's eyes also lit up and he said in a sweet voice. When choosing a name, you must be literate, so that the name you come up with will have connotation and profound meaning, and will not appear tacky or rustic. It's okay, I'm the best at this. You are the holy tiger of the sky, then you will be called Xiaohu. You are the demonic violent ape, then you will be called Little Ape. How is it? Your master is very talented, isn't he? Lin Shu grabbed his chin and said confidently. Little Ape. The red-haired monkey was a little dumbfounded. Because even if it tries hard to figure out, it doesn't understand the connotation and meaning of this name. Little Tiger. Wow, I have a name. My name is Xiaohu, the tiger of the holy tiger of the sky. The holy tiger of the sky screamed excitedly and kept shuttling through the clouds. Could it be that I am too stupid to understand the mystery? That's right, that's definitely the case. Seeing how excited the holy tiger of the sky was, the red-haired monkey said with firm eyes. The junction of the outer forest and the inner forest. There are many figures in all directions of that mysterious ancient ruins. Some of them were sitting cross-legged in nothingness, their bodies filled with the aura of the martial lord. They closed their eyes and meditated, as if waiting for something. Some formed groups and watched eagerly from the side, sometimes looking at the entrance not far away. Someone is coming. Hey. One person also brought a tiger-striped milk cat and a red-haired monkey. Could it be that he also wants to enter the ancient ruins to find opportunities? Strange. Why doesn't this kid have any spiritual power fluctuations? Many people frowned. Stop. Just as Lin Shu approached the entrance, several people wearing armor jumped out and blocked his way. Lin Shu's pupils narrowed, because he found that these people's armors and costumes were the same as those of the previous Iron Shield demon hunting group. Boy, have you ever seen a man named Lin, about the same age as you, who uses a black shovel as a weapon? A middle-aged man in his 40s asked with sharp eyes. Are you deaf or mute? Didn't you hear what my captain asked you? HMPH. Looking at your bumpkin appearance, I'm afraid you are a disciple of a small family in that poor city of Zhongling. Did you see the logo on our armor? The Iron Shield Demon Hunting Group is a force under the Zhong family, the first family in the provincial capital, and our group leader is the biological brother of the famous King Zhongwu. Those who know the truth, you should answer whatever we ask you. Otherwise, you will not be able to eat and will be walking around in circles. Several team members were gearing up and threatening arrogantly. King Zhongwu. Hearing this, Lin Shu smiled. But his smile gave people a creepy feeling. He has not forgotten that it was the Zhong family who destroyed Yi Ma's spirit and cultivation. You fool, what are you laughing at? Let me tear your mouth apart. Someone yelled angrily and rushed towards Lin Shu fiercely. Phew. Before it could get closer, a red shadow flashed rapidly. With a puff of blood, a head fell to the ground. Bah! The red-haired monkey opened its teeth and had a fierce look on its face. However, compared with before, it not only became smaller in stature, but also restrained its demonic aura. Oda, he was killed. That stinking monkey, kill it. Roar. After one person had his head twisted off by the little ape, the others roared like crazy. In an instant, he used various talents and weapons to kill the little ape. Xiaohu squatted on Lin Shu's shoulder with a look of disdain. If the owner hadn't told them not to take action easily, like the group of little Luo in front of them, it could kill them all with just a sneeze. Master, can you kill them all? The little ape looked at Lin Shu. Lin Shu nodded calmly. Suddenly the red-haired monkey's eyes turned scarlet red, and evil energy erupted from his body. Later level 6th order monster. An old man's pupils shrank in the void, but he didn't have the slightest intention to take action. Boom boom, bang bang. Ah, Captain, help me, don't kill me. The battle was one-sided and screams continued. In the span of a few breaths, the members of the Iron Shield demon hunting group who had been clamoring before were mercilessly slaughtered. Some people's heads were forcibly twisted off. Some had their hearts dug out, and some had their entire bodies torn in half by huge force. The methods were extremely cruel. You can't kill me. Our regiment is half-step Martial King, and his brother is Zhongwu King. He has a very high status in the entire Zhong family and is not something you can provoke. Facing the cruelty of the little ape, the 40-year-old captain was completely panicked. Zhong family, sooner or later I will flatten it. Lin Shu snorted coldly, raised his right leg and stepped down violently. With a bang, his head exploded instantly. A strong man in the late stage of Wuzun was brutally killed like this. At this moment, the whole world was silent, and countless people were frightened. Lin Shu raised his head and glanced thoughtfully at the void somewhere, then left with the little tiger and the little ape. With a 6th-level monster as his pet, who is this kid? Is he a disciple of a 1,000-year-old family in another provincial city? Even the Iron Shield demon hunting group and the Zhong family don't look down on him. He is most likely from a 10,000-year-old clan. What? Another disciple of the 10,000 years ancient clan. In this way, the ancient ruins will become lively. Seeing Lin Shu's leaving figure, many people started talking. I know who he is. The adopted son of the Yi family, Lin Shu, who awakened the SSS level water talent. Someone suddenly shouted loudly. Lin Shu, that loser who had no connections before awakening his talent. How is this possible? Where did he get the 6th level spiritual pet? Where did he get the confidence? He dared to kill a team of the Iron Shield demon hunting group. Boom. As soon as Lin Shu's name came out, the whole place was like an explosion of ants, and it was completely boiling. A huge rock, with 2 waves of people gathered at the moment. It was obviously a great opportunity to kill that little fool just now. Why did you tell me not to do it? Gao Kasheng, the eldest son of the Qiangsheng Chamber of Commerce, said with a gloomy look. Did you see those people over there? The spies from Tianling Pavilion and the City Lord's mansion. If I had taken action just now, even if I killed that little beast named Lin, I would have caused some unnecessary trouble. Besides, that monster monkey is quite powerful. If we confront us head-on, we will lose our troops, so why not kill him with a sword strike? Isn't that little beast very crazy and arrogant? I want to see if he can continue to drag him along if he meets the geniuses from the ancient tribes, the 4 major martial arts schools, and the local rankings. Wan Tianlu smiled slyly. Brother Tianlu, can't you see that you are quite wealthy? It's a pity that you and I are over 20 years old, otherwise we would have to enter to compete for resources. Gao Kasheng sighed. At this moment, the people in Tianling Pavilion and the City Lord's mansion seemed to have received some news, and their expressions suddenly changed. No, there's a riot in the Black Demon Forest. The army of monsters is gathering rapidly, and they want to attack the city. What? The Demon Clan is going to attack Zhongling City again. In the past, beast tides occurred once every 10 years. How come this time it's so early? Boom, boom. The entire mountain range was shaken, countless ancient trees were destroyed, and the monster beasts gathered a huge amount of evil energy, making the entire sky dark. If you don't attack late, if you don't attack early, you choose this time, the monster clan. Run away quickly. Everyone rushed to escape, almost scared out of their wits. The void somewhere seems empty, but actually there is something inside. The 2 old men played chess with indifferent expressions. A fat old man who was 5 meters tall was fast asleep. His huge belly was enough to hold a cow's head. An old woman in her 70s who was drinking tea frowned. The Demon Clan is too arrogant. Do you really think that we humans are easy to bully? It's just a small fight, nothing serious. Zhongling has a large city defense formation, and those few demon kings alone can't stir up much trouble. During the chess game, a bald old man said lightly. The human race has a shortage of cultivation resources, and Zhongling is an inconspicuous small town with so many disabled people. In my opinion, half of them dying is not necessarily a bad thing. Another old man in gray said coldly with no expression on his face. Hearing this, the 70-year-old woman seemed a little angry, just when she wanted to refute. Not far away, a man wearing white clothes, his eyes covered with black cloth, and playing an R who said, "The junior who just entered, he seems to be aware of our presence." As soon as the man in white said this, the 2 people playing chess looked disdainful. "Ha, you're worrying too much. It's probably just a coincidence. HMPH, how can a stupid kid find out about me and the others?" Seeing this, the man in white shook his head lightly and continued to play the Arhu alone. Buzz. The aura flickered, and Lin Shu was already in the ancient ruins. A sense of heat greeted us, and a wild and ancient atmosphere was mixed in the air. Everything in front of him was red, with red-hot mountain walls everywhere, and below him was the rolling magma. Some rocks fell into it and were instantly melted. You must know that these stones, after being smelted at high temperatures for a long time, are as hard as earth-level or even heaven-level spiritual weapons, but they still appear as fragile as paper. As you can imagine, the temperature of this magma is astonishing. He stood on a rock pillar, connected to 8 suspension bridges, corresponding to 8 secret passages. According to the information provided by Tianling Pavilion, each secret passage corresponds to 8 different areas. And it's not fixed, it's different every time the ruins are opened. This ruins looks like the size of a royal palace, but in fact there is a universe within it, with 8 square realms. Without much hesitation, he chose a suspension bridge at random. The secret passage was long and damp. Faintly, he seemed to feel that there were pairs of eyes staring at him from a certain corner or back. But when he turned his head and looked around, it seemed normal again. There was only the sound of water dripping from the cracks above his head. I don't know how long it took, but there was a burst of light at the exit in front. When he walked out of the dark passage, he found himself in another world. At a glance, it was endless yellow sand, blown up by the cold wind like a knife, flying all over the sky. It seems that this is the so-called Desert of Death, he murmured while looking at the map presented by Manager Zhang. It is marked on the map. There is no sun or moon in the Desert of Death, so it is impossible to tell the direction, and it is active. At the end of this desert there is a sword tomb with countless famous swords. If you want to cross the desert and reach the sword tomb, there is only one way. That is to close your eyes and keep walking with the flow of the wind until all the sand and dust storms completely disappear. This is important information that Tianling Pavilion has spent many years and painstaking efforts to slowly figure out. In this dust, there is also a terrible scorpion hidden. Although it is only the second or third level, its body is only the size of a fist. However, due to the extremely large number and the extremely poisonous nature, once caught in it, one will almost die. It is also very important to remember that when you are in the Desert of Death, do not get injured or bleed. Otherwise it will bring bad luck. As for what it is not mentioned on the map. This Desert of Death is also the most detailed area explored on the map. After collecting the little tiger and the little ape into the system, he closed his eyes and felt the flow of the wind, disappearing into the vast dust. Click. There was a crunching sound underfoot. As expected, it was the sound of human bones, but Lin Shu was unmoved and continued to go. I don't know how long I walked or how far I walked. He didn't slowly open his eyes until he realized that the sandstorm had completely disappeared. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. At this moment, he was at the foot of a giant peak filled with desolation, and in front of him was a rugged mountain road. From the top of the giant peak, there are tens of thousands or millions of sharp chi coming from it, which is the so-called sword chi. With this map, we can get twice the result with half the effort. He smiled calmly. Hiss. When he stepped onto the top of the mountain, he couldn't help but gasp. A steep mountain wall looked like it had been cut in half by a sword from some magic weapon. There was blood seeping out of the rocks above it, which looked extremely strange. And there are countless swords stuck on the hard rock. But most of them are incomplete and damaged swords. What surprised him was that there were many people gathered below the sword tomb. These people did not pay much attention to his arrival, but looked at the sword on the broken peak with greedy and longing eyes. It seems that there are quite a few people who have maps. A ray of light flashed in his pupils. Ah, save me, there are ghosts in these swords. At this moment, a frightened scream sounded. A man who was about to seize the sword was suddenly swallowed by the remnant soul parasitic in the sword. The naked eye can see that his face is covered with black veins, his pupils are scarlet, and he looks like a zombie with fangs and sharp claws. Roar! He pulled out the long sword, jumped up and slashed at the person next to him like crazy. Facing his attack, the man's head was cut off with a sword before he could react. Just then, something even weirder happened. I saw the beheaded man, and a remnant soul rushed out of his body and rushed towards the man with teeth and claws. Boom! When the remnant soul rushed into the man's body, he looked up to the sky and roared, his aura even more violent than before. Kai! Kai! He wildly waved the bloody sword and slashed out sharp sword energy. No, that kid is completely crazy. Hurry up and kill him. The people below screamed and drew their swords to slash out sword energy one after another. The man who was devoured by the remnant soul was obviously much stronger. He moved like a beast, using other sword hilts to jump and dodge, and rushed directly to the people below. No, senior brother, wake up, it's me. A young man screamed in panic. A stroke of the sword's edge. The young man's roar stopped suddenly, and his throat was cut directly. Kill, 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 I want to kill all the sword cultivators in the world. The man roared with a ferocious face, and his expression was extremely crazy. The most terrifying thing is, at this moment, some tentacles sprouted from his right arm, wrapping around the sword in his hand, and the two merged together. The resentment on his body was soaring to the sky, and his momentum increased sharply again. Suddenly, the man suddenly turned his head as if he had discovered something, and stared at one person intently. There is excitement, bloodlust, and evil. It was like a ghost that had been hungry for a long time and suddenly saw delicious prey. The next second, he laughed wildly and rushed towards Lin Shu. Facing the man's attack, the latter remained expressionless. Brother, run away. It's over, this kid was scared to death. Some people shouted anxiously, while others felt sorry. Just when everyone thought Lin Shu was about to be killed, a yellow figure came quickly. Chang. The two swords collided, creating a dazzling fire. The seemingly thin body of the woman in yellow was as stable as a mountain, but the man was blown away like a cannonball. A star is like a glow. She shouted sweetly, her feet touching the water like a dragonfly. The man rushed out with a whoosh, and the tip of the long sword in his hand condensed a star formation, stabbing the man in the chest. Boom! In everyone's shocked eyes, the man's entire body exploded into a mist of blood. Clang! The bloody sword was inserted into the ground, but no one dared to step forward to snatch it, because the sword body was constantly entangled with powerful resentment and evil energy. Suddenly, the sword seemed to be summoned by something. The sword body kept buzzing, then rose into the sky, and once again inserted into the hole where the sword was pulled out before the sword tomb. What a powerful person! Who is this person? It's her, Kei Ling, an elite disciple of the Tianwang Martial Arts School and ranked 7th on the Earth ranking, is the Sword Star. What? She is the swordsman who is born with a sword and is a genius who is rare in 100 years. It is said that her awakened talent is the SSS-level stars chasing the moon. After fusing swords, she can produce astonishing explosive power. She once killed a late-stage 6th-order monster with a move of hundreds of stars, which shocked the entire country of China. As soon as the name of Sword Star Kei Ling came out, everyone was shocked. The woman in yellow ignored the crowd's exclamations and admirations. She put away the long sword in her hand and looked at Lin Shu with a smile. My friend, are you not injured? Born with a sword. Number 7 on the Earth rankings exists. Lin Shu also felt a little shocked by the strength displayed by the woman in front of him. After all, not everyone is like him and has a system like this. With such strength at such an age, he is enough to be called a human monster. To his surprise, although this woman has great strength, she is not arrogant or arrogant at all. Instead, she seems somewhat approachable. I'm fine, thank you very much, Miss K, for saving me this time. He greeted her with a smile and said with both hands. It's just a little effort. It's just a pity for these few. Looking at the few people who were killed by the man, Kei Ling shook his head and sighed. Miss K, does she know what this is about? Lin Shu asked, because there was very little information about this sword tomb on the map. There is only one simple reminder. One person can only take one sword. These swords on the sword tomb, whether they are intact swords or incomplete swords, were once famous swords that killed countless creatures and were stained with blood. And this peak is weird, it can revive the resentment of the souls under the sword. Once the person who takes the sword is not strong-willed or is not a swordsman, it is easy for the resentment of these dead souls to backfire. Although the sword is tempting, you still have to use it according to your ability. Don't let greed completely blind your mind. After speaking, Kei Ling glanced at the others, indicating something. Some people who wanted to step forward to take the sword suddenly became hesitant when they heard her words. Only a sword cultivator can take the sword. Then wouldn't he have come in vain? Lin Shu frowned. Thank you, Miss K, for reminding me. Although I am not a swordsman, I still want to try it. As he said this, he rushed to the sword tomb with a few flashes. Look, he's gone up to get the sword too. Good guy, that person was a sword cultivator with great strength before, but he was devoured by the remnant soul. However, he is not a sword cultivator and does not have sword energy to protect his body. He is afraid that his body will explode and die in an instant. Many people were in an uproar, thinking that Lin Shu was too arrogant. Such agility, like moving clouds and flowing water, and this person's face did not change in the face of attacks before, it should be not easy. Kei Ling thought to himself as he looked at Lin Shu's back. Heaven-level middle-grade spiritual sword, remnant weapon, torch sword. The best spiritual sword of the heavenly level, the remaining weapon, Qingfeng sword. Heaven-level low-grade spiritual sword, a complete weapon, a diamond sword. Lin Shu stepped on the hilt of the sword, and information about these swords kept popping up. Hey, suddenly, he seemed to realize something and his eyes widened. After a few flashes, he jumped onto a rock as red as blood, where a large embroidered iron sword was stuck. But it is different from other swords. Although the rock on which it is located is blood red and there is still blood seeping out, this large embroidered iron sword has not been contaminated at all. It's as if these weird bloods can't corrode it at all. As that sword, Kai Ling's expression changed as if he thought of something. Without any hesitation, Lin Shu grasped the hilt of the embroidered sword with one hand. Suddenly, information about this sword appeared in front of him. The best of the holy level, half-weapon, nameless heavy sword, the spirit of the weapon in the sword is injured and has not yet awakened. This sword is made of heavenly black iron and 10,000 years of cold stone. The hilt is 1 foot long, the sword body is 5 feet long, the sword is 9 inches wide, and the blade cuts iron like mud. In normal form, it weighs 9,999 pounds. Once the weapon spirit awakens, it can increase the weight of the sword body according to the user's strength, and can also switch the shape of the two swords. What a nameless heavy sword. I want to order this sword. He grasped the hilt of the sword tightly with both hands, blue veins protruded, and the strength of his whole body exploded. His eyes showed a firm look and he shouted, "Get up!" Lin Shu's expression changed. Even though his physical strength exploded completely, the giant sword did not move at all. Suddenly the giant sword buzzed violently, and a terrifying force surged out. Bang! He was knocked away without any resistance. If he looked carefully, he could see that the jaws of the two hands that were holding the sword were split open and blood flowed out. "Be careful," Kai Ling exclaimed from below. At the same time, Lin Shu seemed to be aware of it and his face darkened. Boom! The giant sword released an astonishing sword force, crushing him like a giant sword stretching across the sky. Lili, Lili. His flesh and blood were broken, and even the bones containing a trace of the power of the wild dragon made strange sounds, as if they were about to be crushed. In just an instant, he transformed into a bloody man. Oh my God, such a terrifying sword power, is this a holy sword? What, holy sword? That is a holy weapon that has been regarded as a treasure by thousands of years of power. Don't talk about the holy sword, even if it is a divine weapon, it is useless. That's right, the more powerful the sword, the more amazing the sword power it unleashes. And there is a spirit in the sword. If you take it by force, even the king of martial arts and the great swordsman will suffer. In my opinion, this kid is looking for death. The people below were in shock and kept shouting. Although this burst of sword power was not aimed at them and others. But just that wisp of residual power crushed him to the ground, unable to move. Only Kai Ling, who was born with a sword body, could still stand. His physical body is afraid of reaching level 5, otherwise he would have been shattered into pieces just now. She murmured in shock. But she still looked anxious and worried, because this was just the beginning. Boy, don't even think about pulling out this sword. Ah, this emperor died so miserably, I won't accept it. Eat him. Become a sword slave. Let you feel the pain of being sealed in this sword for thousands of years. Bear our resentment and our hatred. Roar, roar. The moment Lin Shu was knocked away, the giant sword buzzed fiercely. The next second, countless dead souls rushed out of the sword body crazily. These remnant souls include humans, huge monsters, and many aliens, demons, etc. The blade of the nameless heavy sword also began to ooze a trace of strange blood, like an ominous sword. My mother, that is the remnant soul of the nine-headed hellhound. According to records in ancient books, its 9 heads clearly correspond to the 9 attributes of gold, wood, fire, water, wind, thunder, light and darkness. Its strength is monstrous, and the power of a single blow is enough to destroy a city. Such a terrifying monster from hell actually died under this sword. Could it be that the owner of this sword is a human god? Looking at those arrogant and fierce resentful souls, everyone's souls were buzzing and their faces were as white as snow. It's over. If a soul dies under such a powerful sword and is swallowed, the consequences will be disastrous. Kai Ling's mind was tense to the extreme. Boom, boom. With just the effort of breathing, countless resentful souls rushed into Lin Shu's body. Ah! He roared up to the sky, feeling like tens of billions of ants and centipedes were gnawing at his body. Whether you were the demon king, the evil saint, or the demon god when you were alive, you are nothing more than a remnant soul now. You all must die. His face roared ferociously, his right eye turned into a kaleidoscope writing eye, and 2 lines of bloody tears rolled out. Hot. His bloody body suddenly set on fire with billowing black flames. Ah, what kind of flame is this? No, stop it quickly. This is a demonic flame, specifically aimed at the resentment of our remnant souls. After the soul power reaches 10,000 points, the power of Amaterasu black flame becomes more powerful and terrifying. Kai, Kai, the remaining souls that rushed into his body screamed with resentment and fled out in panic, trying to rush into the nameless heavy sword again. But their screams soon stopped abruptly, and their souls were completely burned to death. It seems slow, but in fact everything happens in the blink of an eye. Lin Shu stepped into the air and landed on the blood-red rock. His blood-stained hands clenched the hilt of the sword again. The black flames, the powerful mental power fluctuations, and the martial lord he just stood in the sky. Who is this person? Why is there no one like him on the list? Is he the son of God hidden in the snow? Kei Ling's beautiful eyes were wide open, with an incredible look on her face. If you want to move this sword, you cannot do it with brute force, unless the host's physique reaches 10 million points or more. Just when Lin Shu was about to activate the 8-gate Dunjia and use the surge of power to forcefully draw the sword, the system's voice sounded. Is there no other way? He frowned. Either you have the sword power and sword intention of a great master of Kendo, or you have a unique Kendo physique. Kendo physique. An idea flashed in Lin Shu's mind, and he immediately opened the system panel and started looking for it in the superstore. Soon his eyes twinkled. Crazy sword body. 999,999 points. After fusion, the host can possess tyrannical sword energy and sword intent, and instantly reach the level of a great swordsman. The path of swordsmanship can be divided into swordsman, 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 great swordsman, swordsman masters, swordsman, and swordsman. Without hesitation, he redeemed it. Spent 999,999 points. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the tyrant sword body. Do you want to fuse it now? Merge. Boom. As soon as the word, fusion, came out, a violent and domineering aura rushed out of his body. Vaguely, there seemed to be an invisible golden giant sword rising straight into the sky, causing the entire sky to change and thunder to roar. This is some kind of sword body awakening. Kei Ling, a swordsman prodigy who was said to be rare in a century, felt a turmoil in her heart at this moment. Kendo physique. That is a special physique that is rare to see among hundreds of thousands or millions of people. People with this kind of physique have the ability to understand the sword better than others, and their swordsmanship improves by leaps and bounds. Now a person who is not a sword cultivator and has never even held a sword has awakened. And her intuition told her that the awakened sword body of the young man in front of her was superior to her own sword body. Get up. The tyrannical sword body merged, and Lin Shu's whole body was entangled with the golden sword energy and sword intent, showing his domineering side. The huge sword that had been motionless before was slowly drawn out by him. Bang! The nameless heavy sword was born, and the entire mountain peak was shocked. The countless swords in the sword tomb were filled with emotions of fear and despair. Immediately afterwards, a strange scene happened. A mysterious black sword talisman spread out from the nameless sword body, like a black hole, swallowing up the sword energy and sword intention of the entire sword tomb. No, it is still devouring the resentment of those souls who died under the sword. No, stop quickly. Ah, have mercy on me. Who are you, human boy? The screams continued, and tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dead souls were swallowed up by the nameless heavy sword. Click, click. Those swords that lost their sword energy, sword power, and souls under the swords shattered into pieces one after another, turning into dust and disappearing between heaven and earth. At the same time, in the independent world of the nameless heavy sword, a woman slowly opened her eyes. The spiritual light bloomed, and a woman of about 25 years old with an illusory body appeared in front of Lin Shu. "See, master," she bent down and said respectfully. After the woman came out of the sword body, the terrifying devouring power also disappeared. On the sword tomb, hundreds of thousands of swords were broken into pieces. "Are you the spirit of this sword?" "Yes, I am indeed a sword spirit, but I have been seriously injured and have lost my past memories. Please give me a name, master." "Xiao Chong, Xiao Jian, Xiao Ling." "Thank you, master, for the name. From now on, I will be called Xiao Ling." With that said, the woman turned into a wisp of sword energy and merged with the nameless heavy sword. Lin Shu clearly noticed that the giant sword in his hand had become heavier, and it seemed a bit difficult to pick up his 3,500-point 5th level body. But he believed in himself and would be able to adapt quickly. The next second, he picked up the heavy sword with both hands and swung it violently. Boom! A burst of tyrannical sword energy burst out, making an explosion sound when it came into contact with the space. In the shocked eyes of everyone, a huge vortex exploded out of nothingness. Oh my god, he actually won a holy sword. It's so amazingly powerful. I'm afraid this is not an ordinary holy sword, but a top grade or top quality holy sword. Wow, the best holy sword. Is this kid just out of luck? He managed to get such a powerful sword. Some people were in an uproar and were shocked. Some people gnashed their teeth, with envy, jealousy and hatred on their faces. Shish, be careful what you say. Don't lose your life because of a temporary high. The strength he showed just now has already surpassed that of an ordinary martial artist, and you are not someone you can mess with. Could it be that he, like Huan Man and Yan Ju before him, is a disciple of those 10,000-year-old genius disciples? Everyone was silent and their eyes were filled with shock. It's like being powerful and fearful of the people of the ancient tribe, which has been deeply imprinted in your bones and soul from the day you were born. Stroking the giant sword in his hand, Lin Shu showed a satisfied look. Phew, phew. When his mind moved, the nameless heavy sword turned into two auras, one white and one black, and a pair of sword-shaped earrings appeared in his ears. One is completely black, has no sharp edges, and looks bulky. One is shiny, the blade is extremely sharp, and it looks light. Obviously, this is the double sword shape of the nameless épée. What surprised him the most was that the two swords actually had weapon spirits in their bodies. A very lively and naughty little girl wearing a white dress. A little girl wearing a black dress who looked very cold and calm. The two have exactly the same appearance. They are both 11 or 12 years old, just like the young version of the previous 25-year-old Xiao Ling. Master, my name is Xiao Bai Ling. Master, my name is Xiao Hailing. He had never heard of such a strange sword spirit, and he couldn't help but marvel. After seeing Lin Shu successfully seize the sword, Kai Ling was completely relieved and quickly turned his attention to the swords on the sword tomb. At this time, the swords on the sword tomb were missing by more than half compared to before. She was aware of the subtlety and found that there were about 20 swords that could tenaciously resist the nameless heavy sword's previous devouring. If she guessed correctly, these are all holy swords. Just when she was thinking about which sword she wanted to take, a strange feeling suddenly came over her heart. Thump, thump, her heart beat faster, as if summoned by a power from somewhere. After a few flashes, she landed in front of a sword with a light yellow hilt. It's you. Sword energy and sword power rose in her body. With a proud shout, she drew out the sword in her hand in one go. Boom! As soon as the sword came out, the entire sword tomb buzzed, and a dazzling starlight bloomed out of nothingness. Stars! Her eyes brightened as she looked at the two words engraved on the sword. But before she could be ecstatic, a terrifying sword power struck her. Roar! Roar! At the same time, the souls of the dead who died under the star sword also attacked with their fangs and claws, trying to devour her. She did not sit still and wait for death, but instantly inspired the power of her sword body. The SSS level talent, Stars Chasing the Moon, was also unleashed. Buzz! Buzz! Star arrays condensed and bloomed with dazzling light, and then nothingness exploded continuously, and the resentment of the remaining souls was wiped out one after another. Suddenly, a strong danger struck. She saw a blood-stained sword cutting through the void in the sword tomb, stabbing straight towards her back. This was the same sword that swallowed up the man's mind and tried to kill Lin Shu. Obviously, it wants to take revenge. Not good. Senior Sister K, get out of here. When people below saw it, they shouted anxiously. Feeling the fierce murderous intention behind her, Kai Ling's delicate body trembled, and her eyes revealed despair. Just when she thought she was about to perish, a cold snort echoed through the sky. The afterimage flashed, and Lin Shu appeared behind him. He put one hand in his pocket and slowly stretched out a finger on his right hand. Ah, that's a heaven-level sword. Doesn't he want to live by forcefully grabbing it with his fingers? Arrogant, No, look at his fingertips. What is that? Blue water. In the shocked eyes of everyone, Lin Shu's fingertips condensed a blue water ball as big as a human head. The incoming sword blade penetrated the water ball quickly and slowly, as if it was sealed and unable to move. It's time to settle the account for the attack on me just now. Lin Shu sneered and shook his right hand lightly. With his gentle grasp, the cyan water ball rotated at high speed and turned into gray. Immediately afterwards, in the eyes of everyone's disbelief, the sword body quickly collapsed. Clang! A crisp sound came from the handle of a broken sword falling to the ground. A heaven-level sword was destroyed like this. The whole place fell into silence, except for those pairs of wide-eyed pupils. Water. His talent is water. Water is the weakest talent in the natural system. How is this possible? Cyan and gray water. Is he Lin Shu who has awakened his SSS-level talent? What? Is he Lin Shu? Impossible. It is said that this person has just awakened not long ago and has not yet entered the martial arts school. How can he have such means and strength? Boom! Everyone screamed, and there was a thunderbolt in their minds. Because if this is true, it is simply unbelievable. Take it from me. Sword Star K Ling changed his hand seals and shouted proudly. Buzz! The star sword no longer resisted, and turned into a ray of pale yellow golden light that blended into the center of her eyebrows. Suddenly, she looked ecstatic. Thank you, my friend, for coming to the rescue. She bowed sincerely. Lin Shu shook his head lightly. You saved my life just now, and now we are equal to each other. Hearing this, K Ling smiled bitterly. With the other party's strength, even if he didn't take action before, he could easily solve it. Little girl K Ling, do you dare to ask your friend his name? Lin Shu. Hiss. Hearing his personal admission, everyone below could not help but gasp, looking at Lin Shu as if he had seen a ghost. Bang! Soon, Lin Shu was blown away by a mysterious force, and blood oozed from the corner of his mouth. Is this the power of rules in the rumors? It seems that one person can only take one sword. He glanced at the holy swords in the sword tomb and sighed helplessly. Then he searched thoroughly in the mountain range where the sword tomb was located, but he looked disappointed. When Suling fruit and super spiritual fruit appear, a spiritual energy vortex will be formed, absorbing energy from all directions to mature the fruit. Obviously, neither is in this area. Master Lin, are you looking for the super spirit fruit? K Ling Fei asked. Lin Shu didn't hide anything and nodded calmly. After all, most of the people who entered this ancient ruins came here for this reason. I don't know about the super spiritual fruit, but Sulingguo knows where it is. But you and I have awakened our talents, and this fruit is useless. K Ling shook his head and sighed. As soon as she said this, Lin Shu looked overjoyed. Where is Sulingguo? From the conversation with K Ling, Lin Shu learned that she had been to 5 areas in total. They are Desert of Death, Valley of Thousand Thunders, City of Giant Corpses, Bloody Deep Sea, and Miracle Forest. As for Sulingguo, it was born in the Miracle Forest and attracted countless people. Of course, the people who peaked at Sulingguo were those who were 16 or 17 years old and had not yet awakened their talents. For her, the Gongling fruit had no miraculous effects, so she didn't stay. The remaining 3 realms are the Cursed Tomb, Fantasy Wonderland, and Thousand Treasures Labyrinth. According to her guess, the super spirit fruit will appear in the Dreamy Wonderland or the Cursed Tomb. Soon, the two stood in front of an ancient rumor array. Master Lin, please, K Ling said with a smile. She was in a very happy mood after getting the star sword. Even in the look in her eyes, even the super spirit fruit was hard to compare with. Lin Shu didn't show any pretense and stepped into the teleportation array. The runes were activated, a spiritual light rose into the sky, and the 2 people disappeared instantly. Seeing them leaving, many people showed complicated expressions. There was a burst of light in front of my eyes. When Lin Shu came to his senses, he found himself in a passage. There is a secret room every 100 steps in the passage, symmetrical on the left and right. This should be the 10,000 treasures maze. It seems that we were unlucky and were not transported to the Miracle Forest, the Cursed Tomb, or the Fantasy Wonderland. K Ling said with some disappointment. The 8 major regional teleportation arrays can all communicate with each other, but it is random. After taking a look at the detection watch, there was still no signal from Xiaomei and Xiaoqi. Lin Shu felt somewhat anxious. Master Lin is eager to find a girl, so let's part here for now. If we are destined, maybe we can meet again. Kei Ling said with a smile. Farewell. Lin Shu decisively turned around and left, hoping to find the teleportation array in this domain as soon as possible. If he can leave alive, I'm afraid it will cause a sensation in the entire country of China and even the whole world. I'm afraid those old monsters from the ancient clan and the 4 major martial arts schools won't be able to sit still. Kei Ling murmured as she watched Lin Shu leave. The next second she turned her gaze to the secret room in front of her. The reason why this domain is called the Labyrinth of 10,000 Treasures is because there are thousands or tens of thousands of independent secret rooms. Every secret room can be a great opportunity or a tomb. People with good luck can obtain some powerful skills, elixirs, weapons, talismans, or materials for refining weapons and elixirs after opening the door of the secret room. And the unlucky person will die the moment he opens the door. Because there are various mechanisms, traps, and even some terrifying monsters, evil spirits, etc. Just when Lin Shu passed a corner of the passage, his expression changed slightly. Buzz. 12 beams of light suddenly appeared, and a formation was activated to trap him in it. Look, someone's been tricked again. Haha, this spirit-subduing formation is very easy to use. It is not only secretive, but also has extremely high binding ability. Once it is hit, even the peak warriors of the Wuzong will have difficulty breaking through it. Whoosh, whoosh, from several secret rooms in front, dozens of figures rushed out, looking around at Lin Shu with expressions of ecstasy and excitement. The leader is a man with long white hair. What is shocking is that this man is covered in spiders, including his nostrils and ear holes. These spiders have brightly colored bodies and are riddled with evil and demonic auras. Clearly, these are no ordinary spiders. It is a small demon spider, and it contains highly poisonous poison. Who are you? What do you want to do to me? Lin Shu said expressionlessly. Yo, you're quite calm, kid. Jia. You will know soon what I want to do. If you fall into our hands, you can only blame yourself for your bad fate. Have you seen this man? He is our boss, the 7th young master of Baidu Villa, Wu Min, known as the Little Poison God. These people laughed unscrupulously and looked at Lin Shu with playful and naked eyes. Baidu Villa. Lin Shu's pupils contracted. As far as he knew, Baidu Villa and Yaowang Valley were 2 hostile forces. The ancestors of the 2 came from the same sect, but they turned against each other for unknown reasons. Baidu Villa and Yaowang Valley have been fighting openly and secretly for many years, and they are incompatible with each other. Ah, no, don't eat me. Suddenly, a shrill scream came from a secret room ahead. The scream stopped suddenly, followed by a gnawing sound that made people's scalp numb. It's a dead room again. Wu Min cursed, his eyes widening in anger. 5 death chambers in a row is too evil. Fortunately, we have a scapegoat, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. Someone said with lingering fears. I don't believe in evil. Go and bring those 2 people, it's their turn. Wu Min said coldly. 2 girls were pulled by their hair and forcibly dragged out of a secret room. Didi. There was a rapid sound from the detection watch, and a small red dot flashed continuously. It's her. Lin Shu cast his gaze on one of the girls, who looked frightened. Back then, he killed the 4-star black envoy outside Zhexian Tower and rescued the girl from his hands. This woman is arrogant and aggressive. After waking up, he was slapped with a big label indiscriminately. With his character, he would not be spoiled. After knocking him unconscious with a shovel, he ransacked his body and left in style. He didn't expect to meet this woman here again, and she also had a detection watch on her body. It seems that after that incident, Tianling Pavilion also took some protective measures for her. No, please let me go, miss, please help me. Another girl was forcibly dragged in front of Wu Min, screaming with tears in her eyes. Cheng Yu wore a shawl, folded his hands and clasped his legs, and cowered on the ground. He looked frightened and trembled constantly. Boy, you must see clearly, because it will be your turn soon, haha. Someone laughed wildly at Lin Shu. Go, my little baby. Wu Min slowly stretched out his right hand. Hiss. His right hand was pale, as if he had lost too much blood, and there were countless bite wounds. He opened his mouth, and a colorful spider crawled out of his mouth, biting and sucking blood on his arm. In this regard, Wu Min seemed not to feel any pain or discomfort. Instead, he licked his tongue and showed a twisted expression of enjoyment. When the colorful spider was full, it crawled along her arms and fingers and into the girl's mouth. Suddenly, veins appeared on her face, and her hands violently grabbed her throat, neck, and body, as if she wanted to dig it out. Following a burst of twitching, her eyes became dull and she stood up unsteadily, like a puppet. She staggered towards a secret room not far away, pushed the door open and entered. Bang! After the door was pushed open, it closed again instantly. After about a minute, it opens automatically again. Seeing this, everyone excitedly rushed into the secret. Master, this is a treasure room. Ah, body tempering pills, and there are 9 of them. I'll make a fortune. Body tempering pill. Wu Min was extremely excited when he heard it. At this moment, Lin Shu finally saw it. The 7th young master of Baidu Villa in front of him used poisonous spiders raised in his own blood to control other people and let them serve as guinea pigs to explore the secret rooms. After confirming that it was safe, he sent his men in to seize the treasure in the secret room. It can be described as extremely sinister and vicious. Boom! When the girl entered the next secret room, there was an explosion soon. Obviously, this is a secret room where a trap has been set. It's the death chamber again, killing my little baby. Wu Min growled through gritted teeth. Immediately he set his sights on Cheng Yu. Miss Cheng, all of your men are dead. It's time for you to hit the road, so that you can stay with them until you die. No, you can't kill me. My grandfather is the 2nd Master Cheng Ba, and our family is one of the 3 wealthy families in Zhongling, with an industry worth tens of billions. As long as you let me go, I can give you money, a lot of money. Cheng Yu kept begging. Wu Min smiled disdainfully. Do you think this young master is a man who is short of money? The so-called 3 wealthy families in your mouth are not even worthless in the eyes of me at Baidu Villa. Just hold her down for me. Girl Cheng, just accept your fate. Jia, being able to sacrifice your life for Master Wu Min is a blessing from your 10th life. You should thank us. What a pity, you have a good figure and appearance. If time were not pressed, I would really like to play a multiplayer landlord game with you. Wu Min's minions were wreaking havoc and laughing evilly. No, don't kill me. Don't feed me spiders, I'm most afraid of these reptiles. When she saw a colorful spider crawling along Wu Min's hand and almost into her mouth, she was terrified and screamed heartbreakingly. Suddenly, she seemed to see something, her eyes widened, and she became extremely excited. Wait a minute, I know this guy. He is the evil disciple of the Divine Lotus sect. He was the one who kidnapped me. She yelled with all her strength. Evil disciples of the Divine Lotus sect. As soon as she said this, everyone's expressions suddenly changed. Wu Min suddenly turned his head and stared at Lin Shu, his eyes bloodshot and became fierce. Boy, are you really a member of the Divine Lotus sect? Wu Min stared at Lin Shu with a ferocious face, strong hatred bursting out of his eyes. Although he is known as the Little Poison God, he has a high status among the younger generation of Baidu Villa. But looking at the history of Baidu Villa, his little talent is not even ranked among the top 100. But his brother Wu Du was known as the #1 genius in Baidu Villa for thousands of years. Born with a poisonous body, he feeds on poisonous spiders, snakes, and scorpions from the day he is born. Some old poisoners in the village once said that he would be the future poison saint and poison god, and they had high hopes for him. So Baidu Villa spent all its resources to help him cultivate and grow. His brother lived up to expectations and continued to rise like a new star, blooming with dazzling brilliance. But the good times didn't last long, and the nightmare appeared. On a stormy night, the entire Baidu Villa was attacked, causing heavy casualties. Wu Du was forcibly abducted by a mysterious force, which is the evil anti-humanity organization Shenlian sect. From that day on, he hated this organization extremely. Yes, he is that cult member. Even if his face turns to ashes, I will still be able to recognize him. Master Wu Min, I know that your Baidu Villa has a deep hatred for that evil cult. You must cut him into pieces. Cheng Yu seemed to see a glimmer of hope of living, and she screamed loudly. As long as all the anger, hatred, and murderous intent are directed towards the person in front of him, then he may be able to escape. Even if the opportunity is slim, she will never let it go. Shut up, stinky fool. I saved your life in the first place. It's okay for you to be ungrateful. Now you bite me randomly. You are not only unruly and difficult to deal with, but you are also poisonous. Lin Shu shouted loudly, and his eyes shot out two frightening glances. Cheng Yu's heart froze, as if he was being targeted by some terrible beast. But soon she showed her ugly face. Save me. Bah, I saw it with my own eyes, you can't even think about making excuses. What, do you really believe what this crazy woman says? Lin Shu's eyes returned to coldness, and he looked at Wu Min calmly. So what if you believe it? So what if you don't believe it? Now that you have fallen into the hands of this young master and become a piece of meat on the iron plate, your fate has already been determined. The difference is that you died in these secret rooms searching for us. I was still transformed into a GU corpse by this young master. From now on, I will not be able to survive, nor will I be able to survive. With a click, Wu Min opened his mouth wide and spit out several 10 spiders. Hiss. One of them actually has 6 colors, and it is much larger than the other colorful spiders. Look, that's Master Wu Min's 6-color Spider King. Its poison is 100 times more powerful than the ordinary colorful poisonous spider. Even if a 5th-level monster is bitten, it will instantly fall to the ground and lose its fighting power. The poison will cause death within 30 breaths. Gia, it seems that the boss is planning to turn this kid into a GU corpse. Others saw the crowd and started making noises. The 6-colored spider jumped onto the barrier and was bitten into a small mouth by it. No, it doesn't chew it open, but uses the poison in its teeth to erode the barrier. Immediately, it produced spider silk from its tail and hung it from midair, trying to get into Lin Shu's mouth. You guy, go to hell. Regardless of whether you were the one who kidnapped me, but you dared to knock me unconscious and take away my belongings, you deserve death. Seeing that the 6-color Spider King was about to penetrate Lin Shu's body, Cheng Yu smiled viciously in his heart. Master Wu Min, please spare my life because I exposed his identity as a cult member. No matter what you ask me to do, she begged humbly. This mother-in-law is not bad. Why don't you keep her for fun first? Maybe you can take the opportunity to regain the Cheng family and strengthen your power. Although the Cheng family is a third-rate family, if you make good use of it, the young master will be able to play a big role when you compete for the position of the young master of the village in the future. Some younger brothers also echoed. Yes, I can be your woman. Grandpa has always loved me the most. He will definitely submit to you, Master Wu Min. Cheng Yu said excitedly after seeing a glimmer of hope. Although she felt unwilling in her heart, she could only do this in order to survive. Besides, Baidu Villa has a 1,000-year power, which is definitely not comparable to that of the Cheng family. If one's own family can become the head of this family, when he takes the position of head of the village, the Cheng family will also be prosperous. This matter. Wu Min touched his chin and was silent for a moment before he was about to speak. But at this moment, his expression suddenly changed as he seemed to notice something. Disappeared. The boy and the barrier disappeared out of thin air. At the same time, a strong sense of danger came over. You want to turn me into a GU corpse? Just rely on you. Just rely on this small formation barrier. Suddenly, a cold voice sounded in his ears. Buzz. The spiritual light flickered, and Lin Shu appeared strangely. What? You? Wu Min screamed. Before he could react, a slender hand pinched his neck, and his whole body hung in the air. Those poisonous spiders seemed to sense that their master was in danger. They swarmed out from various parts of Wu Min's body like crazy, climbed onto Lin Shu's hands, or jumped directly onto his face. Click, click. With a flash of blue light, the cold water clothes protect the body, and all the poisonous spiders instantly turn into ice spiders. Ah, my cute little baby, I want you to die. What are you still doing? Kill him quickly. Seeing the poisonous spider that he had fed on flesh and blood since childhood being frozen, then shattering into cold air and dissipating, Wu Min screamed in pain. In his eyes, these poisonous spiders are not insects or monsters, but his precious and beloved children, which are his life's work. How did he escape from the Fulling Array? No, the young master is being held hostage by him. Please save him. You fool, how dare you make an enemy of Baidu Villa? You are looking for death. The people who came back to their senses were frightened and angry and started killing Lin Shu. Get lost. Lin Shu's eyes widened and he shouted in a deep voice. A strong spiritual power burst out like a volcano. Bang bang. Puff. It was devastated, screams continued, and flesh and blood flew everywhere. When everything calmed down, the ground was full of debris. You are a 6th level martial lord. Seeing his subordinates being killed so easily, Wu Min's whole soul trembled. The person in front of me is not the black envoy of the Divine Lotus sect, but a red envoy. Such a monster is by no means inferior to his elder brother, even worse than his brother. Looking at the corpse beside her that was bleeding from 7 holes, Cheng Yu and she were also frightened into confusion. She never expected that a thing in the bag could fight back like this, and it was absolutely crushing. Wait, something seems wrong. The person who kidnapped her was a black-robed messenger. According to her grandfather, the strength of this kind of black-robed messenger is between the 4th and 5th level warriors. But the spiritual power fluctuations and aura that the young man in front of him had just erupted had obviously reached the 6th level. Could it be that this person was really not the black-robed messenger of the Lotus sect who abducted her in the first place? She trembled in her heart. I am a direct disciple of Baidu Villa, and my grandfather is an elder. If you dare to kill me, you will be the enemy of the entire Baidu Villa. Wu Min's pupils widened in fear and he shouted. You talk a lot of nonsense. Lin Shu's eyes turned cold and he exerted force with his fingers. PFF, the neck exploded instantly with a squeeze. Dong dong. A bloody head rolled down in front of Cheng Yu and her. Especially Wu Min's eyes full of fear and regret were staring straight at her, making her scalp numb and her beauty pale. You, don't come here. I admit that I may have really misunderstood you. You are not from the Shenlian sect, but you can't blame me entirely. Who told me that the first person I saw when I woke up was you, and you still had an evil smile on your face, and you were looting the corpses. Not only that, you also knocked me unconscious and took away my space ring, belongings, etc. If you don't have a guilty conscience and run away, can I misunderstand you? If you explain it carefully, can I misunderstand you? So you should bear half of the responsibility for causing such misunderstanding. Seeing Lin Shu approaching, Cheng Yu said one after another in panic. Ha ha, so I saved you, do I still have to apologize to you? Lin Shu couldn't help but feel amused when he heard the other party's strong words. There's no need to apologize. You can be considered as saving me this time. The disrespect you showed to me before can be offset by each other. The thing you are wearing is a detection watch developed by Tianling Pavilion. It is impossible for ordinary people to get it. If my guess is correct, you should be someone secretly trained by Tianling Pavilion. The mission of entering the ancient ruins this time is to protect geniuses like me who have awakened S-level talents. After all, our Cheng family is a major taxpayer in the country, so we should have some privileges and be protected. I was kidnapped by people from the Shenlian sect before, and it was because of your carelessness and negligence. So this time, I hope you can protect me at all times. Of course, when I get out, I will let my grandpa reward you well. This is a great opportunity for you to make a contribution, so you have to perform well. When she saw the watch Lin Shu was wearing, her panic and nervous expression gradually disappeared, and she once again showed her past aggressiveness and unruliness. That look was as if he believed that Lin Shu was a member of the Tianling Pavilion and that he would not harm himself. Have you finished speaking? Lin Shu said calmly. Bang! A loud slap hit Cheng Yu on the face, slamming her to the ground. The face was red and swollen, and the 5 fingerprints were so dazzling and red. Even 2 of her teeth were knocked out and she vomited blood. She looked stunned and confused. Isn't the young man in front of me sent by Tianling Pavilion to protect important people like them who wear watches? How dare you be so cruel to yourself? Aren't you afraid that when you go out, you will complain to your superiors? I just hate being preached to by others. What I hate the most is people buzzing in my ears like a fly, especially women. Also, you are mistaken. My surname is Lin Mingshu, and I am not from Tianling Pavilion. That's right. Don't you like to see others being turned into GU corpses? Today I will make it happen for you. After saying that, Lin Shu raised his hand and sucked at the formation barrier behind him. Buzz. When he opened his palm, there was a 6-color poisonous spider king there. Are you the one who awakened the SSS level natural water talent in the same class as me? No, this is absolutely impossible. How long has it been since you awakened? How could you become a martial master? After learning Lin Shu's identity, Cheng Yu screamed loudly, his eyes filled with extreme disbelief. Lin Shu ignored it and flicked his hand, and the six-color poisonous spider went straight towards Cheng Yu. No! Disgusting beast, get out of here, miss. Lin Shu, save me, I will apologize to you. Looking at the ugly and creepy six-colored poisonous spider king, Cheng Yu was completely frightened to the point of peeing. Her weak spiritual power rose up and tried to knock it away, but it had no effect at all. Although the owner of the six-color poisonous spider died, it was frightened by instinct and Lin Shu. It quickly spit out spider silk to bind Cheng Yu, turning it into a pupa so that he could not move at all. In Cheng Yu's desperate and extremely frightened eyes, it penetrated into her throat. Ah! Ah! Her eyes were bulging and bloodshot, and she looked very terrifying, as if she was suffering from the pain of having her liver eaten away, and she was roaring crazily. It's your own fault and you won't survive. Lin Shu gave her a cold look. If his strength had not greatly increased, he would have been the one whose heart was eaten by the six-color poisonous spider king today. For a woman like this who is unruly, willful, and vicious, being soft-hearted will only end up harming herself. After putting away the space ring and the Chenkin bag on Wu Min and others, he decisively turned around and left without looking back. The Suling fruit and super spiritual fruit were about to mature, and he didn't have any extra time to waste here, entangled with this woman. Phew, phew. After a few flashes, he disappeared around the corner at the end of the passage. Not long after he left, a strange wind blew. I saw Wu Min's corpses, and the blood seemed to be indexed by some mysterious power, seeping into some unopened secret rooms. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a shriveled corpse that looked like it had been dead for tens or hundreds of years. Cheng Yu, who was wrapped in spider silk and turned into a pupa, no longer whined, and his mouth and eyes were also sealed with spider silk. Motionless, like a mummy. 1 hour, 2 hours. I don't know how long it took, but the spider chrysalis suddenly moved. Then there was a hiss, and a hand covered with spider hairs with nails as sharp as demon claws tore open a corner of the pupa. At the same time, a pair of pupils filled with scarlet red and resentment suddenly opened. It takes too much time to search for the teleportation array in this way, and these passages and secret rooms seem to be alive and can constantly change shape. Lin Shu stopped and frowned. The light flashed, and the little tiger and the little ape were summoned from the system. The sword-shaped earrings turned into 2 rays of light, one white and one black, and instantly flew in different directions. Searching for tiger cubs, apes, white spirits, and black spirits separately can greatly improve efficiency. As for losing contact, there is no need to worry at all. First, this is the same domain. Secondly, there is a blood and soul bond between him and the 4. Sure enough, not long after, there was an excited message from the little ape. As soon as the aura escaped, he disappeared into the maze of treasures. When the light in front of him dissipated, he found himself in a wild, lifeless valley. Not a blade of grass grows, there is no source of water, and scorched earth and corpses can be seen everywhere. Boom, boom, click, click. The sky was covered with dark clouds, and thunder continued to fall, like a thunder prison. This is the Valley of 10,000 Thunders. Lin Shu was greatly disappointed. Due to being ravaged by thunder all year round, the soil quality here has changed, and a special stone called Thunderstone will be born. This kind of stone is the best material for refining weapons. Even a small piece can be sold for millions outside. Moreover, for body refiners, this valley is also an excellent place for cultivation. But that's not what he wants. Continue to split up and look for this domain teleportation array. He spotted many people along the way, but avoided them. It's not that he is afraid or jealous, but that he doesn't want to waste time. When someone wanted to get closer, he sent out a wave of Wuzun's spiritual power, which frightened the other party into turning pale and running away. Half a day later, he disappeared again in the 10,000 Thunder Valley. Appeared again in a boundless, blood-red and ominous sea. But under his feet, there was actually the back shell of a tortoise as big as a house. The bloody deep sea. Lin Shu's heart sank, feeling that this ancient ruin was constantly playing tricks on him, as if an invisible hand was controlling everything. 1 day later, he finally found this domain teleportation array on a small island. No, To be more precise, it was on the back of a giant turtle. Buzz. When the aura disappeared, a strong aura of heaven and earth and vitality came from all directions. The landscape in front of us is lush and green, with towering trees and rare flowers and plants everywhere. Butterflies fluttering and birds singing loudly make you feel like you are in an ancient forest. Suddenly, an object with a faint strange light flew past, and finally landed on a huge flower bud. It was a cute little person as big as a palm, with transparent wings and delicate facial features. Wood elf. You can't be wrong, this is the miracle forest. Lin Shu was ecstatic. Didi. There was also a signal sound coming from the detection watch. The red light spots representing Xiaomei and Xiaoqi were displayed on the map again. More than 500 kilometers away from his location, the ancient ruins opened for the 6th day. Roar. The little tiger let out a domineering roar, and its body as big as a milk cat changed rapidly. In the blink of an eye, he transformed into a mighty and domineering sacred tiger in the sky. Lin Shu and Xiao Yuan jumped on his back. It flapped its tiger wings and stirred up a gust of wind, and one person and two animals quickly shuttled through the forest. Dusk falls and the fog begins to rise. Some monsters hidden in this miraculous forest began to wake up and wanted to come out to hunt. The wood elves, spiritual birds, and flying saucers that Lin Shu had seen before seemed to sense the danger and disappeared in unison. There seems to be something wrong, master. The little ape's red hair stood on end, as if facing a formidable enemy. Without the reminder, Lin Shu's face darkened. Whoosh, whoosh. Black shadows shot out from all directions, staring at Lin Shu and his party with green eyes. Under the dim moonlight, one could vaguely see a group of foxes. One of them is significantly larger than the other foxes, with 7 tails. Its pupils flashed with a strange light, and it raised its paw and waved forward. Suddenly, the foxes behind him rushed out quickly. Kai, Kai. When he opened his mouth, streaks of blood-red demonic light shot out and struck Lin Shu. You must know that Xiaohu is not only a pure-blooded holy beast, but now his strength has reached the level of a demon king. It invisibly exudes a ray of Demon King's aura, which makes ordinary monsters afraid to approach. This group of fox demons did not avoid them, but dared to attack them, which was obviously extraordinary. Claw of Destruction. With a roar, a tiger claw wind blade continued to grow in size, and it slashed out with a violent and fierce aura. Wherever it passed, everything was destroyed. Call. The wind howled, and the tiger cub jumped out of the smoke. The next second, he was blown away by a huge tail and hit 10 kilometers away, causing a collapse in the forest. Demon. That fox is a demon king. The little ape's heart was beating fast, and his face showed fear. I'm afraid there's more than one. Lin Shu narrowed his pupils. The day and night of this miracle forest are like 2 worlds. During the day, the forest is peaceful, and wood elves, spiritual birds and butterflies can be seen everywhere, just like a paradise. But once it turns into a monster forest at night, some powerful and terrifying monsters will wake up in the darkness and look for prey. Therefore, it is marked in red font on the map. It is passable during the day but prohibited at night. Roar. As soon as Lin Shu finished speaking, the ground below opened and a huge beast rushed out. Dozens of tentacles wrapped around thunder and lightning, stabbing it like a spear. Xiaohu, keep going, I'll deal with them. Little ape, the demon king is attacking you to block it. Lin Shu's eyes were cold and there were 2 more swords in his hands. One is completely black, has no point or edge, and looks bulky. A shiny sword with an extremely sharp edge and a light appearance. The blue light is bright, and the chaotic rootless water with cold attribute wraps around the light sword. In the black abyss, the chaotic rootless water with heavy attributes wraps around the épée, making it look like a black hole. The Quangba sword body was activated, and he held 2 swords and slashed out sharp and heavy attacks one after another. Boom, boom. Suddenly the entire forest exploded, filled with angry roars and screams. As the noise becomes louder and louder, those terrifying sleeping creatures are also waking up. 500 kilometers away, there is a hidden cave. From the deepest part of the cave, there is a ray of fire reflected. The 3 women were surrounded by a pile of fire coals, with several fish grilled on top. Today is the 6th day of Xiaoshui. Can we really make it in time to pick the suling fruit? Sun Ji asked with some worry. She did not enter the ancient ruins with Shang Xiao, Jian Yuan, the boy with a flat head and others, but chose to go with Yi Shui. At this moment, she looked tired, her clothes were torn, and there were injuries on her face, arms, and legs. Obviously, she has not been having a good life since entering this ancient ruins. Don't worry, as long as we speed up during the day, we will definitely get there, right? Shang, Yi Shui said with firm eyes, and then looked at the cute little person in his arms. It was actually a female wood elf. He knew that Shang Xiao, Jian Su and others would most likely take revenge on him. So before entering the ancient ruins, she chose to hide. It wasn't until they saw the other party's group completely disappearing that the three women stepped inside. What made them feel lucky was that their first stop was the Miracle Forest. Soon, by chance, she met an injured wood elf. Although this wood elf has not reached the 5th level, it cannot speak human language. But the amazing thing is that she can vaguely understand what the other party means. And as time passed, she became more and more familiar with the wood elves and was able to communicate without hindrance. It was as if deep in her soul and blood, she was born to understand the language of the elves. Soon, she learned great news from the wood spirit Shang. That is, this time the Sulingguo will be born in the Miracle Forest, in the Elf Valley. So the three girls walked during the day and rested at night. After 6 days of traveling, we are now only 20 kilometers away from Elf Valley. Chirp, chirp, the wood elf is fragrant, she dances as if she is saying something, her eyes are both angry and sad. Xiaoshui, what did Shang say? Sun Ji asked curiously. Shang said that she had just received information from her tribe, saying that one of the suling fruits was ripe and had been picked and eaten by someone, and that person had awakened SS-level talent. It was also said that some humans were extremely arrogant and unscrupulously destroyed the Elf Valley. Many of their companions were killed or seriously injured. Her family was also imprisoned by a young man named Zhang Ba. Yi Shui said solemnly, the Sulingguo has begun to mature. Someone has eaten it to awaken the SS talent. When Sun Ji heard this, her expression was extremely shocked. But after hearing the second half of the words, she also felt sad and comforted the wood elf Shang. After these few days of getting along with him, she had already regarded him as a friend and confidant. The fish is cooked. Sister Yi, Sister Sun, eat it while it's hot. Xiaoqi on the side smiled, took 2 fish from the grill and handed them over. Yi Shui didn't show any pretense and started gobbling it up. After all, she was very tired from traveling during the day and consumed a lot of energy. Xiaoqi, you are so weird. I have never seen you eat anything along the way, not even a drop of water. I really doubt that you are not human. Sun Ji took a sip and asked. Yi Shui stopped her hand and looked at Xiaoqi with a puzzled look. I'm sorry, I didn't mean not to eat or drink. I'm really not hungry or thirsty. Feeling the questioning gaze, Xiaoqi immediately lowered her head and apologized continuously like a child who had done something wrong. Seeing this, Yi Shui and Sun Ji were instantly speechless. Xiaoqi is good at everything. He is just too timid and gets extremely nervous and scared when he encounters something. Hey, there is fire inside, is there someone there? I smell meat, come in and take a look. Suddenly, some familiar voices came from outside the cave. Sun Ji and Yi Shui seemed to think of something, their delicate bodies trembled suddenly and their expressions were flustered. No, these voices are Jian Yuan, Yi Ping and the others. On Auntie Yi's birthday, your brother beat them up in some unknown way, and even recorded a short video of Jian Yuan and Yi Ping, making it known to the whole school and the entire internet. With her vengeful character, once she finds out you are here, Shuier, she will never let you go. And that young Master Shang, he is a polite scum. This place is cut off from the outside world. Once you fall into his clutches, the consequences will be disastrous. Hearing those familiar voices outside the cave, Sun Ji looked extremely panicked and turned pale. Don't be afraid, Sun Ji, in the worst case we will fight to the death. Yi Shui held her trembling, cold hand, took out a pistol from his body and handed it over. Holding the gun in her hand, Sun Ji calmed down her panic. For her who has weak spiritual power and unawakened talents, the gun is her only reliance. Yi Shui felt as if she was facing a formidable enemy, hiding in her sleeves and holding the gun tightly with both hands. Under the illumination of the sparks, beads of sweat the size of soybeans slid down her cheeks. Xiaoqi on the side didn't seem to notice the danger coming. She was still grilling the fish seriously, spreading some seasonings on it, her little face turned red. Look, it's Yi Shui, Sun Ji and the others. Hey, it's really them, they meet each other in the mountains and rivers. In my opinion, this is called enemies on a narrow road. Ha ha, the sky has eyes, let us meet them both here. It seems like all this is God's will. Especially Yi Shui, a stinky fool, I have to repay her properly, otherwise I will be sorry for her brother's kindness to me. Soon a large group of people rushed into the cave, more than 30 people in total. When they saw Yi Shui and Sun Ji, they were stunned for a moment, and then laughed wildly, their eyes full of cruelty and resentment. Especially Jian Yuan and the boy with a crew cut in the crowd. The moment the two of them saw Yi Shui, their faces became ferocious, as if they wanted to gnaw his flesh and drink his blood alive. Yi Shui, when your brother humiliated me like that, I will repay you tenfold today, auntie. I think everyone has been holding it back for a long time. This is a dish delivered to your door. What are you grown men doing in a daze? Let's serve it together. Jian Yuan showed an ugly face and screamed out of control. She will never forget the shame of that night, it will always haunt her like a nightmare. Others come to ancient ruins for suling fruit, super spirit fruit, and other treasures. Only she is not. She just wanted to let the man named Lin try what hell was and what real despair was in this place that was isolated from the outside world. It's a pity that she has been looking for the man named Lin for so many days, but there has been no news. She even seriously doubted that the other party had not come in at all, but now the opportunity for revenge came. This is a miraculous forest among ancient ruins. What are you afraid of? A bunch of trash. I'll pay for the first round first. Seeing that the others were hesitant, the boy with a crew cut excitedly rushed towards them with an evil smile on his face. Bang, bang, the gunshot rang out, bringing with it a stream of blood. Ah, my arm. But the next second the boy with a flat head screamed and fell to the ground. He was shot in the shoulder, and his blood instantly turned red. He looked horrified and angry at the same time. Be careful, they have guns in their hands. Yi Shui, Sun Ji, please calm down first and don't shoot. We don't mean any harm. We are all classmates. Now that we are in this small world, we should work together and move forward hand in hand. Only in this way can we have a chance to win the legendary Su Lingguo. Shui, I'm the squad leader. Listen to me. Put down the gun first. If you have anything to do, let's talk slowly. We really mean no harm. Jian Yuan and Yi Ping were just joking with you just now. It was just a misunderstanding. Don't take it seriously. Seeing that the boy with a flat head was injured, the expressions of the others suddenly changed and they kept retreating. Some girls quickly spoke to try to appease Yi Shui and Sun Ji. It's just a misunderstanding, really. Yi Shui stood up and sneered. Bang, there was another gunshot, and the boy with the crew cut screamed again, his right leg dripping with blood. Shui, you've gone too far. Do you really not care about the friendship between classmates? The monitor was a short-haired girl wearing glasses. At this moment, she glared at Yi Shui angrily. She was not present on the night of Yi Ma's birthday. She has always been a good student and a master of time management. Almost everything I have to do every day is written down in a notebook, like hiding in the library alone or practicing the piano at home. Due to the opening of ancient ruins and the emergence of Su Lingguo, she gradually got together with people like Jian Yuan and the boy with a crew cut. Is it too much? If my brother hadn't discovered his conspiracy, I would have been the one who was harmed, and you would have seen my suicide body long ago. Why don't you, monitor, try the taste of that medicine? I think Jian Yuan still has it on her body. Saying that, Yi Shui pointed the gun at the squad leader. No, that's not what I meant. The female monitor, who was so frightened that she stood up for the boy with a crew cut, quickly waved her hands and denied it, her face turning pale. She couldn't understand why Xiao Shui, who had always been gentle and kind in the class, suddenly seemed to have completely transformed into a completely different person, cold-blooded and ruthless. Could it be that the other party is possessed by some ghost or evil object? You trash that can't be held up by mud. Jian Yuan spat condescendingly at the crew-cut man with a look of disgust on her face. Then, she stood out from the crowd with a fierce smile on her face. The surnamed Yi is pretty good. She actually learned how to shoot. But you don't think that with this gun, you can deal with so many of us at the same time. As soon as she finished speaking, her spiritual power rose and she chose to rush straight towards Yi Shui. Bang, 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 the latter decisively fired again and again. However, this time there was no blood mist filling the air, and no ghosts crying, wolves howling or screaming. Just when the bullet was about to penetrate Jian Yuan's body, the jade bracelet in her hand suddenly released a burst of spiritual light, forming a light curtain to block all bullets. Earth-level protective spiritual weapon. Yi Shui suddenly changed color. She's out of bullets. Get her under control. What a fool. You dare to point a gun at me. You will not be able to survive or die later. Upon seeing this, the frightened expressions on other people's faces disappeared, and instead they became extremely cruel. Only a few people looked at a loss because they only joined the team halfway. Seeing the crowd rushing towards her, Sun Ji closed her eyes, gritted her teeth and pulled the trigger. However, Jian Yuan stepped forward and stopped him directly with the antibody light curtain. Suddenly, she fell into despair. With so many people bullying two girls, do you still want to look bad? The art of controlling water, wave rush. In vain, a cold voice sounded from behind the crowd. Hong hong. A wave of water appeared, majestic and rushed towards Jian Yuan and the others. The momentum was like breaking bamboo, and everyone was washed away by the sudden wave of water. Although there were no casualties, he was knocked down to the ground, soaked and miserable. Who? Get out and die immediately. Which fool dares to sneak attack? Don't you want to live? Someone roared with murderous intent. Water talent, could it be my brother? Yi Shui looked overjoyed. But just for a moment, she rejected this idea in her mind, because the voice didn't sound like it at all. Tread, tread, tread. Following the sound of footsteps, a young man appeared in front of everyone. The boy looks about 17 or 18 years old, with short blue hair, blue eyes and delicate facial features. There were 9 water balls surrounding him, and a unique mark faintly flashed between his forehead. You two little girls, don't panic, I'm here. I hate those guys who use their power to bully others, especially a large group of people bullying two girls who are powerless to fight. The blue-haired boy walked up to Yi Shui and Sun Ji. Gulu, Gulu. The water that had dispersed everyone before seemed to be summoned and gathered around him, turning into a water-like saber-toothed killer whale. Awaken talent, TCH. It's just the most useless natural water talent. I'm afraid of him. So what if your spiritual power reaches 50 points? Do you really think you can deal with so many people like me? Sign up, kid. I advise you not to act like a hero. Haven't you ever heard of shooting the first bird? Everyone stood up in embarrassment. After realizing that their bodies were fine, their eyes became ferocious and vicious. Clang, clang. Many people showed off their weapons, including daggers, hooks, machetes. Listen up. I won't change my name when I go downstairs, or my gender when I sit down, Miaohong. The blue-haired man said with a domineering side face. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.